Good afternoon, everybody. Warm welcome to Páirc Uí Chaoimh for this Bond Secure Premier Senior Football Championship second semi-final. And what a treat we have in store. Castlehaven versus the Bars. When you say those two club teams, what does that all mean? Well, it's a fierce rivalry that has been happening over the past decade. And who can forget about October 4th, 2020, when the famous semi-final in Páirc Uí Chaoimh went all the way to penalties and Castlehaven coming out on top. Well, a place in the final in the 2021 edition of this championship is up for grabs this afternoon, and we'll be going through the big game from 3 o'clock when the ball will be thrown in, and joining me on commentary will be Patrick Kelly and John Hayes. We will be discussing both teams very shortly indeed, but let's firstly hear from both camps. Momentarily we'll be hearing from the St Finbarrs manager, Dr. Paul O'Keefe, but firstly let's head to West Cork and to the Castlehaven manager, James McCarthy. So James, I suppose just to reflect on your quarter-final win a fortnight ago, played in really, really tough conditions, but undoubtedly you were delighted to get through the game against Valley Rovers on the day.
Yeah, happy with the end result, of course. Winner takes all, especially on that stage in quarter-final time. Conditions were woeful. Would have been worse again, I suppose, if we weren't in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, because the plus was we had a good pitch, and that's a big bonus. We weren't happy with our first half performance, but we had a very good second half performance. I would think enough to be credible winners indeed.
And you mentioned about the pitch. I suppose it was the first time you visited since the county final, and look, it was obviously the conditions were drastically different from the end of August being a beautiful sunny day towards a fortnight ago being so wet and windy for your own game. I know it dried up for the second game quite considerably, but during your own game there were some nasty showers, and players found it difficult just to try and keep a hold of their feet during the game.
Yeah, even us on the sideline, selectors and mentors, just to stay warm was nearly impossible because it was pure sleet, it was cold rain and wind with it, and it was high wind, and it was very hard to play, good football with it, with the wind and against the wind. It was nearly easier to play against it because you could control it a bit more. You're inclined with the wind to kick it, and if you kick, you just lose control of it completely.
And it was a very physical game at times. Like Valley Rovers brought great physicality to the game, but you did very well, just like, as you mentioned, holding on to possession, trying to do the right thing all the time, and that kind of told out towards the end as the game started to wear on in the second half.
Yeah, I suppose that's where, I suppose, being on the road, some lads on the road a long time, but this team as a whole has been on the road now with 2 years, lockdown and everything, so we have a good bit of work done with them, and I suppose match management is the thing, how to see out games, how to, when the pressure comes on, not to lose the head a bit. Valleys came back to 1 point to us there in the second half, but we took control of the game then, and that shows a bit of maturity that's growing into this team, like, which some of the lads are very young, and playing in Páirc Uí Chaoimh for the first time is a big occasion for everyone, but I think we've matured as a team over the 2 years, and without the trophies, but I think the lads themselves individually as well have grown into their jobs, how to play as a team. It's very hard to do that when you have a lot of Cork lads involved. We're at our best now when we have our lads together for the last 5 or 6 weeks.
And you have been very good in your performances so far to date. The group stages, they're quite tough. 3 games over a 7-week period. It's quite physically demanding, and then to be out in the quarterfinal, then a fortnight later, it takes a lot out of the body for a player.
It does, but on the other side of that is when you're playing, so you can manage them, and you can tailor your training to the games. It's not like before. You could be, we're playing in a month's time, and then Cork win a match and you're put back or brought forward. I think it's easier to manage it now. It's not ideal, especially for the June maybe. It's far better than what it was, and it's a great championship.
I know we're going to touch on the match shortly, but I suppose we have to reminisce about October the 4th, that famous Sunday night in the park last year. an extraordinary game, which he won after a penalty shootout in the I think it was the sixth round of penalties. It was an extraordinary night's football.
Yeah, and for the 200 people that were there, it's like games. I'd say in years to come, everybody would say they were at that game, but that was special. I suppose it was more special for us. It was very hard on the Bears to lose a game like that. I think it's very unfair on any team to lose a game like that, or any player to be put under that kind of pressure to be remembered for taking that kick, or making that save, or letting the ball into your hands, whatever. But yeah, it was special. Again, it was a woeful night. It was horrendous conditions, but the football that both teams played that night was tough, fair, hard, intense stuff. Maybe not spectacular, but there was glimpses there. The Brian Hurley point, Maguire and Collins going at it midfield. Some super individual performances that night, as team performances on both sides. And look, after extra time, both teams ended up level. Both teams deserved another day out, but it wanted to be because the county final was on the following week. But it was something to remember. I just see highlights of it the other night, and it would still, the hairs are standing in the back of your neck, for some of the occasions. And to be fair to you, the commentary was top class as well on the night, when you see back.
Well, it was one of those games I don't think too many people will forget if you were there in attendance that night. And looking forward to the match this Sunday, I suppose, James. We're in Páirc Uí Chaoimh this weekend. Again, the pitch is in superb condition and the forecast looks quite decent. So we're looking forward to quite a physical game of football, I suppose, but a quite open game as well at the same time.
Yeah, the difference with any other pitch in Páirc Uí Chaoimh is that you can't play defensive football or tight football or try to keep a score down for 60 minutes. The pitch is just too big. The legs will go. So I would see an open game of football again Sunday. There'll be big matchups against each other, big hits going in. It won't be a kick of a ball in this. I would hope 5 minutes to go we're well up, but not many people are saying that. So if we're in it there with 5 minutes to go, I'm hoping that we can see it out again.
And how has training been going with the Castlehaven camp over the last fortnight?
We'll just top it up a bit on what we've been doing over the last 2 years, but the most enjoyable part of it, you can see the players really enjoying it. And, there's a saying down here at training, if the lights are on in November, you're doing something right, in a normal year. So, to be in a county semi-final, you have to, if you're not enjoying that, there's something wrong. And that's what players play for, to be at the business end of stuff. But at this time of the year, whenever it is on, to be in a county semi-final, I think we're in 6 or 7 in the last 10 years. We have a fairly good record at semi-final level. And we're really looking forward to Sunday again. And so is the whole parish.
So now we head down to St. Finbarrs and their manager, Dr. Paul O'Keefe. And Paul, thanks very much for joining us. I suppose I just want to reminisce firstly with the quarter-final win a fortnight ago over Éire Óg. And you mentioned that it was always going to be a tough and teak game. A game, I suppose, with a bit of uncertainty because you didn't know what Éire Óg were going to bring to the table. But you fought very well and very valiantly in the final quarter.
Yeah, look, it was a good response. Look, I suppose the worry I had going into the game was you felt that we had played Éire Óg kind of earlier in the league, and they play with massive pace, and they kind of run from deep and stuff, and you knew they are a coming team, to watch over the next few years, and it was a real concern going into the game. After the first kind of 15-20 minutes, it was justifiable when we were, whatever it was, 7 points to 1 down. And you're kind of feeling, look, if they'd probably put a goal past us at that stage, it was game over. But thankfully, we steadied the ship and rallied and had a brilliant kind of last quarter, with, the usual leaders on the team kind of putting their hands up and getting stuck into it. So, really happy in the end, but not so happy with the start, I'd say.
Yeah, that's probably a fair point. And it's interesting, I suppose, at the back of Brian Hayes' red card, we've seen it a couple of times this year. We saw it with the Glen in the quarterfinal against Mulcahy, and yourselves. When you went down to 14 men, the shoulder went harder to the wheel, and you got more out of the team.
Yeah, we seem to do that kind of thing, when we make life extra difficult for ourselves, we seem to respond, But definitely, I think that was the wake-up call, really, Brian. Brian being sent off. I think we kind of realised, okay, look, the championship is on the line here, and we needed a response, and thankfully we got it.
And I suppose that's one point we need to talk about, just the elephant in the room being the red card. It was rescinded last week. Brian got a personal hearing last week, so he's free to play this weekend.
Yeah, thankfully. Look, I kind of maybe spoken about it a little bit. But look, I to be honest, like when you actually, obviously we had the video and we were able to kind of slow it down. And when you see it in slow motion, look, it's a shoulder-to-shoulder contact, and really how it, I understand totally on the night. Like when I saw the hit, I said, I kind of felt like he could be in trouble for this. But actually, when you look at it in slow motion, it's just his size. Like he's a huge man, and look. That's kind of been a bit like being hit by John Olomo, that kind of, it was just his momentum, a big man hitting kind of, the guy he hit wasn't necessarily a small man, but it's just the momentum that he carried into the tackle. There's absolutely no malice in it. It was just shoulder to shoulder contact, but I think his opponent's head kind of whipped back, and it looked worse. But look, I think when you looked at it in slow motion, you'd say, look, yeah, fair shoulder, but just he just hit your man well, and it was just a force of contact, really, more than it being a malicious tackle.
And I think we've seen a lot of those, kind of big hits in games in recent times. Teams' reaction can mean a lot, and there was a bit of a scuffle afterwards. Nothing majorly came out of it, but
Yeah.
At the end of the day, and you know this yourself, probably, look, players' health and safety is obviously first port of call.
Yeah, and look, you know what? Look, when you see a big impact like that, like if it's, even if it is timed well, the reaction is, oh, it's a foul, that it has to be, there has to be a red card. But actually, sometimes it like you look at the conditioning of players now. They're all in the gym. They're big men. Like it is a bit like some of the rugby hits. Like when you see two big men colliding out there, like the hits are ferocious. So and in real time as well. Look, it's very hard for the referees to make a call on that. Like if it doesn't look like it's a perfect hit, or like even if it's slightly off, with the best of intent. You're definitely walking on thin ice with the referees, especially when there's a big reaction from the crowd and there's pressure on to, maybe produce a card of whatever colour. And it's a difficult job for the referees, especially now, like when fellas are, they're built and coming into contact.
I want to move back now a small bit further. 13 months ago, we spoke about it on the opening day of the season, and here we are 13 months later. One of those extraordinary games that people, I think, won't forget for a long time. And here we are again, same two teams, same status of the competition, back in the semi-final once again.
Yeah, look, it's I suppose like it's a bit like a heavyweight kind of slugfest. Looking back on last year, I've analysed that game a lot and look back on it, and yeah, look, I suppose we came away that night kind of feeling, look, we'd left it behind us, and when we go back and look at our stats and stuff, look, we I think it was 35 shots on goal, and just didn't convert enough of them, so look, hopefully, look, I think everybody's looking forward to kind of the rematch tomorrow, but look, it's a different game. I think we're kind of in a different place this year as well, so look, for the fans, they're probably looking forward to something similar to last year. I don't know if my ticker could take it on the sideline, but
you might need to get a heart monitor down to you.
Jesus, yeah, it's a more defibrillator than heart monitor, but look, you've no doubt, look, that Castlehaven aren't going to take a step back. We're not going to take a step back, and sure we'll see what that looks like in over the next 24 hours.
And how was camp been over the last fortnight? How was training gone since that
really
win
good.
over Aero?
Yeah, all really good. Look, the boys are flying. We've had, like since the Aero game, we've gone really well in training, and look, we've pretty much everybody back being fit, and just it's the last couple of sessions have been really good. So I'm expecting a good performance from the boys.
And to be back in the park, I know you played there in the quarter final, but to be there semi-final Sunday,
Yeah.
and expectations of a couple of thousand there. It's a great place to be at the business end of the championship.
Oh, it's fantastic, look, like when you actually stand out on the surface down the park, I think it's the best in the country. I think it's probably better than Croke Park, if I'm allowed to say that. But look, it's just a super venue, it's just fantastic to play down there. Nice big pitch, great surface. Like if you can't play football down the park, you may as well forget about it. And look, I think the forecast is pretty good. So, like, I think it's going to be a great day's football. Look, it's a double header. You've the other semi-final on before us. Douglas been in their first semi-final in a while. I think it's going to draw a big crowd. And then there's the I suppose the attraction of watching the rematch from last year, if you want to call it that. But look, I suppose for us, look, we're just concentrating on it's the next game for us. Look, we want to get to a final. And just deal with it from there, like.
Welcome back to Páirc Uí Chaoimh, and my thanks to Paul O'Keefe and to James McCarthy for joining us, and welcome to the commentary position for Game 2 of this semi-final. John Hayes and Patrick Kelly join me on commentary, and lads, just to reflect on the first match, an extraordinary game, but Douglas pulling it out of the fire.
Clan getting over the line by a point.
Clan getting over the fire, I should say.
Good start. Look, they were I thought comfortably the better team. They should have won by 5 or 6 points. A penalty in the last minute got Douglas back into it and could have snuck it, but thoroughly deserved from Clan. County final, I don't think many of us would have predicted that at the start of the year, but fair play to them, well deserved. And we'll go in as underdogs, obviously, against whoever comes through here, but still in a great position. What
I should have said was Douglas nearly pulling it out of the fire, and they nearly did. That late penalty, probably justifiable, but the 2 chances they had late to get scores, couldn't convert them.
Yeah, they turned over a couple of opportunities late in the game. 6 minutes or so of injury, 6.5 minutes of injury time in the second half. I think Clan would have been very disappointed if they didn't come away with the win. As Paddy said, they were the better team, deservedly went through. And look, Douglas, for their part, I don't think the 4 weeks, the break, benefited Douglas at all. I think Clan improved a lot from playing the quarter-final against Duhallow. So, you could see they were a bit sharper and, look, better teams, and the right result in the end.
Does that, the same happened last week with SARS, that they got the bye, the 2V are playing in the championship. So that is it now turning out that you want to be in a quarter-final playing a game rather than straight through to a semi-final?
I'd still take the semi-final route if you had the choice, but especially for a dual club, I think, and for Douglas this year, I think it was strange in that they'd only 2 dual players, whereas any other year they would have loved that 4-week gap. But look, sometimes it can be But look, it's easy in hindsight. They still started very well today. They were the better team in the first 10 minutes. They just fell away badly. Con's system really stifled them. So look, that's always the way you can look back in hindsight and say, we missed the 2 week or 4 week gap, but Con were the better team, no doubt about it.
So Clonakilty will be going to a final. Let's have a look forward to this game. We'll be going through the teams shortly, but I suppose, as I mentioned to the lads, like reminiscing on last year's semi-final, a belting game, going to penalties, had everything, red cards, black cards, millies, went to extra time, extraordinary scores, penalty shootout. You had the whole lot in one bag.
Yeah, and look, we're all hoping for something similar today. Look, I think every Cork football person with an interest in Cork football is excited for this game, because it's probably the two best teams in the championship. Would have made for a great final, but as the way the draw has worked out, we have it in the semi-final. The winners of this will be strong favourites for the final, but look, Clon will be happy at that going under the radar. But like you said, last year's game was a belter. We're hoping for more of the same today. Two teams who did have a quarter-final should be in great shape. Look, so I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully we'll get a good game.
And from a Haven point of view, I suppose, they'll be looking to try and keep on going the run that they've got. Losing a county final back here in August, that's going to be in the back of the mind, but it's going to be a helping hand also playing on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, and I think we saw that with Mallow yesterday. Mallow did massive against Ballingeary after losing here during the summer against Éire Óg. They've obviously that hurt is there, but that drive is also there. In contrast to the first game, I think where both teams were loaded in defence. Most of their star players, Con and Douglas, will be in the defence. I think here today it's from midfield forward where all the marquee players are. You've the Hurleys and Mark Collins and Jack Callan on one side, and then you've Sherlock Maguire driving, I think, for the Bars on the other side. So, look, I think this is going to be a very, very exciting game, very high-intensity game. Both teams, probably the two most physical teams in the County Championship. It should be a cracking game, especially after last year. With the Callans, I suppose, playing hurling with the Bars as well adds another little bit of spice. But, this, as John said, it's a pity in a way that these two teams didn't avoid each other in the semi-final, but the makings of a great game.
Well, who's going to face Clonakilty in the final? All will be revealed as we start now, looking at the teams ahead of the game, and we'll start with Castlehaven, who would make no change to the programme, and they go as selected in front of us. We'll bring up that graphic in front of you shortly. Brian Hurley, of course, who's after scoring 220 in Championship 2021 in his 4 games so far, is the real pinpoint in the centre forward position. The 3 Cahalan brothers, of course, who played their hurling with the Bars, playing football with the Haven, so it's going to be an interesting tussle. And in the forward line also, you've got the likes of Michael Hurley and Cathal Maguire, who will have an influential part to play for the Haven.
Yeah, 100%. Look, Castlehaven have a very settled team. A lot of their guys and their star players that Paddy talked about, Mark Collins, Brian Hurley, Damien Cahalan, Michael Hurley, all guys with inter-county experience. And, we know Brian is the main man, the main scoring man, but Mark Collins is obviously equally important to Castlehaven. The work he does, pretty much all over the pitch. He gets tackles in and defends, and he also gets forward and gets scores. Goal in the semi-final, which was crucial. Last minute of the game in our group game, he popped up with a point to win the game as well. So Mark is hugely influential, and look, Rory Maguire is someone who's probably been a plus for them as well. He's kind of settled down the full back position, which was maybe an area they wanted to improve since David Limerick retired. Paddy, you remember, David Limerick was a very good player, and Rory has taken that position. So they're very solid, strong through the middle with dangerous forwards. As Paddy was saying, they're a club team with a serious forward line. Like Conor O'Driscoll has done very well for them this year as well. Cathal Maguire, as he says, popping up with scores. Jack Callan and Conor Callan are both underage Cork footballers as well, so it's a very strong forward line.
Let's have a look at the St Finbarrs team, and they go with 3 changes to the side that defeated Valley Rovers in the quarter-final, and out go Adam Lyne, Owen Commons and Owen McGreevy are all out of the game. Billy Hennessy, I should say, will start. Some are probably in defensive zone. Enda Dennehy goes in as well after scoring 1-3 in the championship to date. And Killian Myers-Murray, welcome back to Killian Myers-Murray after having an injury, missing out in the last 2 games for the Bars. He's got 2-6 in the championship. He'll have a crucial part to play. One man who's been flying this year as the leading scorer of the championship, Stephen Sherlock. He's got 124 to his name. And what about the down man, Conor McCrickard? He's had an influential part in the quarter-final win over Éire Óg. Of course, we all know the stalwart of the team, Ian Maguire. He has a big part to play here, Patrick.
Yeah, they're a very impressive looking team, even that forward I know with McCricker joining them, with Barrett, Sherlock, Myers-Murray inside. They've 4 out-and-out forwards. You'll see Brian Hayes and Dennis O'Brien working back Hayes will probably go midfield and then he'll be wing forward. Barrs have massive options on the kick out. They don't tend to look short at all. They tend to go long to Maguire. Commons maybe is out, but to Hayes and to Dennis O'Brien. So, but the Haven have the ability to match them on those kickouts, and if they can put a pressure on the kickouts and put the Barrs under pressure, that's a huge aspect of the Barrs game that they tend to dominate early. In the backline, then you look at the backline for the Barrs, and there's very experienced players there, like Sam Ryan, I presume, will be marking one of the hurleys. Who takes the other one is to be decided yet, I'd say. So, like the likes of Colin Lyons, Alan O'Connor, Scully, very experienced lads. So, two very settled teams, two very experienced teams. So this is the makings of a great game. I expect a lot of niggle, a lot of close contact here. So this should be the game of the championship so far.
Yeah, you talk about niggle. There was a lot of niggle in that semi-final last year. If we get anywhere close to what we got in that game last year, like, this could be an absolute welting game. Could be better than any of the hurling or football games we've seen so far, John.
We hope so. Look, I hope we're not blowing it up too much now and it doesn't live up to expectation. But it definitely feels like two teams who are at the top of their game, who are peaking at the right time. And look, having that game so close last year, obviously the Barrs will be desperate to put that right and to reverse the result. But Castlehaven, lost the final here earlier this year, so they have the motivation there to keep going. And both these teams are real, championship hardened teams as well. So look, expectations are high for a reason. I hope it's a good game of football. I expect it will be. And as for trying to call a result, it's 50-50. It's really 50-50. I think for me, I have a slight inkling that Castlehaven might just have that little bit more today. But then again, if the Barrs get running at teams, the Barrs, one of their main strengths is their athleticism, and when they run at you and create scores and frees for Stephen Sherlock, it could go their way as well. It's a tentative vote for Castlehaven, but nothing too strong on it.
Well, I didn't even know the votes were even being cast yet. But as I look out in the field, John Ryan, as we've seen on camera just moments ago, who skipped to help David Moran moments ago, but no reason why, because look, you wouldn't blame him on this occasion, but the toss was made. Ian Maguire winning the toss, playing into the City end in this opening half. And I always wonder about this as a player. Is that a one that you try and avoid the sun in the opening half, that when the second half turns that the sun isn't there? Is that something the players are nonchalant of?
Maybe a free taker or goalkeeper might be more concerned about that, but no, it's not something I'd have ever been particularly concerned about. I don't know, is there a favourite goal here either in Páirc Uí Chaoimh? Personally, I don't think, for me there wouldn't be, for us there wouldn't be, but as John said, look, once Nemo were knocked out in the group stages, I think everyone looked at these two teams as the two most likely winners, and the fact they've been drawn together, like, there's some brilliant matchups here. You're looking at, will Damien Callan, will he pick up Brian Hayes maybe around the middle? Mark Collins and Ian Maguire, probably the two most influential players at club level. Will Rory Maguire pick up Stephen Sherlock? There's so many things, so many different battles, individual battles, and plus tactically how things will go. So, while you wouldn't rule out Clan, this game is huge for both sides.
And Patrick, I just should mention that Brian Hayes, of course, got a red card against Éire Óg. You were here on the night. What's your overall reflection on that now 2 weeks later?
Yeah, look, in real time, I thought, I was here and I thought he caught him in the jaw, and I thought it was a red card. I heard during the week he obviously got let off. I think it was down to intent, or lack of intent. And to be fair, it didn't look as though certainly wasn't going to crack him in the jaw. It was going to hit him in the shoulder, and whatever way the player dropped or Brian Hayes' height resulted in a bit of a bang. So look, you always want to see the best players play. I'm sure the Haven will be questioning how that happened, but at the same time, as a neutral here now, it's good to see both teams, I think, are at full tilt. I can't think of anyone who's missing on either side, unless there's been an injury that I haven't heard of. So this is a cracking game in store.
Okay, big game to come. Castlehaven versus the Barrs right after a Raw Naveen, which will be coming up very, very shortly indeed here on a sunny Páirc Uí Chaoimh after a foggy start this morning. The second semi-final coming up right after the national anthem. It's the 5-time champions Castlehaven, who have won 3 times in this century, 2003, 2012 and 2013, who take on St Finbarrs, who last won in 2018 and ended a 33-year drought when they defeated Duhallow 3-14 to 2-14. Lads, final moments ahead of the match. The tentative vote, John Hayes.
Yeah, my tentative vote was Castlehaven. Like Paddy touched on there, there's some great battles to look forward to. Again, will Sam Ryan pick up Michael Hurley, or will he go on Brian Hurley? Who takes the other Hurley then? When Sam is probably given that job, one of those 2 jobs anyway, and then Ian Maguire against Mark Collins midfield. You know, that could be worth the admission fee alone. So a tentative vote to Castlehaven, but with no great conviction. This could go either way.
Patrick Kelly.
Yeah, maybe it's our boys towards who we've played against or where we're from, or our neighbours. So I would tentatively give the Bars the vote. You know, we played them the last 2 years. Outstanding team, very physical, very athletic. This ground suits them, nice open pitch. I wouldn't say with any massive confidence, but if I was to go for it, I'd go with the Bars by a point or 2.
Changes already in the centre of the field. Looks like, is that Mark Collins and Jamie Walsh? It is inside, and Brian Hayes gone centre of the field as well, matching up with Ian Maguire as the quarter final. The referee blesses himself. We all bless ourselves for the mouth-watering clash here between the Bars and the Haven, as the Bars with the opening exchanges through Maguire into Hayes, and a ball inside looking for Sherlock and McCrickard, and here is the down man. He's been held up inside, and the Haven getting away with the opening shot, and it is Mark Collins breaking away with the opening possession. Play it outside to Jamie Burns, long ball looking for Brian Hurley, 50-50, but intercepted on that occasion by Billy Hennessy. And the Dennehy's on also, as well as Killian Myers, 17, 21 and 23 respectively, as we've shown in the graphic at the top of the programme, as Finbarr takes a slip for himself under pressure from David McCarthy in the centre of the field. Here the sun-splintered Porky Queeve. Billy Hennessy now, Jew star, former Cork panellist in the hurling squad, offloading to Ian Maguire. In traffic, got taken over off the ball heavily. McCrickard's making a run forward, and Dennehy offloading it down towards Hennessy in this near side. Here is Brian Hayes. Hayes settling the feet, looking for the opening score. Curling. Is that gone outside the post? It is just outside the post. Very, very close. But it's gone right, left and wide.
Yeah, good strike there from Hayes. Nice patient play. John spotting a few things off the ball. Damien Callahan has gone back in, picking up Sherlock, and I think it's Rory Maguire has come out to midfield to partner Mark Collins.
First kick out of the game from Anthony Seymour. Super mark claimed by Brian Hayes, and here comes Maguire in on the steam train through the centre of the park in towards Enda Dennehy, offloading it over towards Sherlock with his second goal of the championship, and the Bears off to a flyer.
Yeah, clean catch at midfield from Brian Hayes, a great mark straight through the middle. Ian doing what he does best, which is tearing through. Gave the pass at the right time. Enda Dennehy then just popped it off, and Stephen Sherlock in the right place, the right man in the right place. Great goal.
Coming into the championship, this semi-final as the leading championship scorer with 125. He's got a second goal to his name, and McCrickard has broken onto the breaking ball here. Long ball over the top, and Bars mean business. They're going on goal again here. Colin Barrett this time with a shot off the post, going across the face of goal, going right and wide, and John Hayes agrees with the umpire.
I would have thought there was a little clip of the heels there, whether it be accidental or not, but I thought it was worth an advantage in a free-in. But again, Maguire, big strong fist in that ball, and McCrickard pick up the break. Haven under pressure early on here, Barr starting with a lot of intent.
Full play outside of the Bar 65 so far, and that cracking opening goal to get the opening game off and running as Mark Collins wins a mark, plays it inside towards Jack Cahalan. Bit of nervous playing on the youngster from the Haven. Knows all these Bars players reasonably well from playing hurling with most of the squad. Brian Hayes now, loose pass but got away with it, and ball works outside to Billy Hennessy. On the loop here in front of us is Colin Lyons, long ball inside to the full forward line. Barrett, in fact it's Killian Murray playing a 2-man full forward line inside, and Stephen Sherlock looking to try and turn the man inside. That's Damien Cahalan, and what a start from Stephen Sherlock.
Yeah, brilliant score from Stephen. Look, one of the top club forwards in the county with an awful long time. Potentially maybe a player that Keith Ricken might look at calling back into the squad as well. You know, he's got loads of ability. He's the main man, and that was a great score.
Sherlock with 1-1, Bars leading 1-1 to Castlehaven's no score. And he got inside the 4th minute of the game as Jamie Burns was fouled, and Mark Collins picking up the ball, long ball in towards space over towards that far side of the field, and
Jamie Burns thought about going for it. Here comes Brian Hurley going down. You're right, Hurley with a shot. Oh, across the face, a goal. But Jamie Burns was he didn't know what to do when the ball went to space, left it to Brian Hurley, and that was an open goal opportunity.
Great run across the pitch from Brian Hurley. Mark had a free, and Brian made a run across, left his mark Alan O'Connor for dead, and worth going for there. Brian will always go for that if he's half a chance. Excellent start to this game. Two teams going right at it.
That was a big moment. If that went in, it really would have picked up Castlehaven.
Kick out going all the way out over the sideline from John Kearns. Referee is telling the Bars man to move back out of space. Peter O'Leary is our sideline official on this side, doing a great job on Friday evening in the ladies football final here. Again, we brought you live on the Irish Examiner as David Welton plays this around and towards the centre of the park. And here is Conor Cahalane. Matt Collins now in the centre of the field, matching up against his fellow Cork teammate Maguire. Wins the rebound. Maguire trying to get a hand in. Collins fins him off. Ball into the corner. Looking for Michael Hurley. In fact, it is Brian Hurley. In fact, here is the aforementioned younger brother of the two, Michael, under pressure, evading 2 tackles, 3 tackles, gone in. There's a shotgun goal. Could be on here. Michael Hurley. John Kearns makes a save. Michael Hurley fumbled over there by Brian Hayes, and it's a free just outside the parallelogram.
Yeah, look, that's the danger with Michael Hurley. He's got so much speed. If he does get inside you, you're not going to get back. I think he was taken out a little bit late there, and the free-in was the right decision. 2 goal chances though, and a goal at the other end. This game is wide open and both teams are going for it.
Yeah, and it's brilliant to see. I mean, if you look at the forward line up the far side, the Bars are playing Myers Murray inside with McCrickard and Sherlock. They also have Cullen Barr playing 4 out-and-out forwards. And on the other side, you've the two Hurleys, you've Jack Callan, you've Conor Driscoll. So look, we're spoiled for choice here with attacking ability. So, and both teams are known for going at games. They don't tend to sit back. So it's the makings of a cracker. We've a massive battle around the middle of the field there with Hayes and Maguire up against Mark Collins, and it's Rory Maguire going out to partner him. So it's a great opening so far. Both teams looking dangerous up top and moving the ball very quickly.
Some concern here with Michael as well, just testing the ankles by the looks of it.
Yeah, Michael's had his issues with injuries, hamstring in particular. Hopefully it's nothing too serious and that he'll be able to play on. As Paddy touched on earlier, we want to see the best players playing here in this game, and Michael is one of them, so probable point here for Castlehaven to settle them down.
And to get Castlehaven up and running, Brian Hurley steps into this right in the tee of the parallelogram and kicks the ball over the bar for Castlehaven's opening score.
Yeah, I'll be interested here on the Bars kick out. John Kearns tends to go along with a lot of his kick outs. The Bars just tend to rely on their big men, but there's movement there, and they've caught Castlehaven sleeping. Colin Lyons wins a short one.
But I wonder, can they do that today, especially with Mark Collins, marking Maguire? Are they available? Is that a available option to him today?
They'd still back themselves. I mean, Dennis O'Brien at number 10 is a huge option from wing forward. They got very, very lucky there. Jamie Burns took ball into contact, but he got away with it, and the Bars in attack here again with McCrickard 1-on-1.
1-on-1, turns back on the right hand peg. The man from County Down who came down after round 2 of the championship. Oh, what a score. What a start from the man from County Down.
Yeah, fine score. It's my first glimpse of Conor McCrickard today. So, I've heard positive things. So that was an impressive score. I'm looking forward to see what he can do. And the Bars look like they're very much capable of doing damage.
Kick out to the centre, 3 Cork players climbing, but it was the one Castlehaven man, Mark Collins, who beat the 2 Cork men in Maguire and Hayes, and there's a free one in the centre of the park, won by Conor Cahalane. They're transferring forward quickly. The transition was quick. Mark Collins with a possible goal opportunity. That was the 4th goal opportunity of the game, but he stitched the ball over the bar. Yeah,
probably sensible decision there from Mark. It looked like he could have given it slipped inside to Brian, but I suppose being already going 2 points to a point down, it was a sensible decision. But look, this game has got off to a great start. The pattern is very open, and we should be in for a cracker if things continue.
John Kearns now with the kick out again, going down to this side. Dennis O'Brien, as Paddy mentioned moments ago, well, he was beaten to the punch on this occasion. There was 2 Barsmen got in each other's way, and it was Brian Hayes, by the looks of it, who was kicked that ball out over the sideline.
Oh, it's a great ball.
Long ball. Brian Hurley switching it inside, looking for the man outside. Michael Hurley plays it over across towards Brian Hurley. There's an opportunity of a score here for the Haven, and that's a score well taken inside there. Conor O'Driscoll looks to be, lads.
Yeah, Conor O'Driscoll with the efficient score. Great vision and courage to go for the pass there from Michael Hurley. A lot of players might just take it safe, but if you get that ball over the defender's head and get him backtracking, if it had gone straight to Brian, it could have well been another goal chance. But they're two good scores for Castlehaven.
Driscoll with a fine score as David McCarthy misses the kick out over that far side, fouls Finbarrs over that far side of the field. Ball being worked inside towards Colin Lyons. Lyons got through the heart of the defence. He's found space inside here. Shot going in from Lyons, going right and wide.
Yeah, look, in contrast to the first game where Clon had a lot of numbers back, this is very much man for man. You saw there Colin Lyons, just all he had to do was just check inside his man. He was straight through and had a shot from the edge of the outside the boot but tail wide. Just interesting all round. You see Conor Driscoll got a score. I think James McCarthy described him as their secret weapon. I think he got 4 from playing their last 2 games. Damien caught for a little push in the back there on Sherlock.
Yeah, absolutely 100% correct, as Brian Hayes now going to be taking the free halfway between the 45 and 65 for Macroom official John Ryan signals to play on. Here's Brian Hayes, long ball looking 1-on-1. McCrickard went on a loop around the defender, beating Ronan Walsh, but he never saw Anthony Seymour getting in there, and Seymour now under pressure to try and clear these lines out of there as the Haven now trying to work this possession out of defence. Long ball towards O'Driscoll, the latest score in the game. There's all acre of space in front of us, the Haven. Plenty for O'Driscoll to try and tack onto, looking for one of the 2 Hurleys. He found one of them. That's Michael Hurley. Brian's got it inside. Michael's still on his feet, turns back on the left hand side, turn back onto the right. Great switcheroo around. Shot going in, but going across the face of goal, left and wide.
Yeah, I think Michael will be disappointed. That was a good opportunity for Castlehaven. They probably should have punished there. It's chance after chance here, though. As Paddy said, there's no sweepers, there's no blanket defence. It's man on man, old school football, and it's great to see.
Yeah, just in terms of the matchups there, Sam Ryan is picking up Michael Hurley, Brian Hurley's been marked by Alan O'Connor, Jamie Burns has taken Jack Callahan, and it looks like maybe Colin Lyons has got Conor O'Driscoll, but it's as John said, it's great. You're looking at 3v3 and 2v2 inside.
Possession with the Bars through Alan O'Connor, working it back inside to Billy Hennessy, running from deep. Brian Hayes bursting his way, long stride from the 20-year-old, working it in towards the 45-metre line. Shot going in here from Dennis O'Brien.
Yeah, look, I've played the Bars maybe 4 or 5 times championship the last 10 years, and Dennis O'Brien is a very, very underrated player. He operates there always at number 10, a big target man on kickouts, but he's always clipping in with a couple of scores. Great score there on the loop, and again puts the Bars back up that 1 goal.
Possession now with the Haven through David McCarthy. Ronan Walsh now working down towards his near side to David Welton. Welton under pressure, pulled of the jersey, says our Macroom official, as Damien Cahalan takes the ball, plays it long quickly, looking for the younger brother. Often done it back in the day, but Jack Cahalan, well, he's been beaten to the punch once again there by Jamie Burns, and that gives another opportunity for the Bars now to try and move forward, as through Colm Scully, who offloads it to Colin Barrett. Back inside, and on the loop here is Enda Dennehy. 45-yard ball, crossed the face of goal down towards his near sideline to Killian Myers-Murray. Kept it in from going out of play as Ronan Walsh now went to pick up the ball and successfully does so, as they have now trying to settle the feet once again as David Welton. Back to Walsh, crossover towards Maguire. Dangerous ball, but doing okay as Ronan Walsh over towards that far side. Looks like Conor O'Driscoll. Very, very deep. That's a heavy hit. Shoulder on shoulder. What a hit from Ian Maguire. Play continues on though. And now Castlehaven man's being bottled up inside her. Possession all the while with the Haven, I should say, through David Welton. It's another heavy hit on Damien Cahalan. The play continues on. Cahalan turns back inside. Burns is holding the arm though, so that's illegal. Free to the Haven. 1-on-1 situation inside. Brian Hurley nearly got his hands on it. Alan O'Connor just got a flicker and flicked it away to John Kearns.
Yeah, look, it's great action. Brilliant hit from Ian Maguire. Bars probably should have got the turnover out of it, but didn't. Castlehaven came away with it. Long ball in from Damien, which he loves to do, and like you said, if Brian had just managed to gather it, it was another goal chance.
Late hit on Billy Hennessy. There's a free shot going in here for Colin Barrett, but that ball goes short, and as he took the shot, the referee just dropped his hand. He said, Barrett, you played the advantage. Hennessy is not happy with the referee, and the hand is gone. It's a wide ball.
Yeah, I thought it probably was still within the couple of seconds, but interesting that Castlehaven have put Damien back on mark. You know, I've always seen Damien as a half-back. For me, that's where he does his best work, driving forward there. You saw he's a good man to either carry or to look up and play long ball. So they're kind of sacrificing a big part of their attacking play and Damien driving out defence to try and quieten Stephen Sherlock, and I'm not sure does it suit his game as much as maybe if they have another man marker in there.
David Moran, a referee of the first game, signalling that Colin Lyons knocked the ball out over the line that far side of the field, so it's going to be a Haven line ball. We take my Conor Callahan over on that far side. Plays it back into the corner to Anthony Seymour, a man who's been part of this team for a long time with the Haven. Many of these players playing with both respective clubs in the last couple of seasons. Clean strip there by Sherlock by the looks of it. Ball squirts back though for the Haven. The Haven are looking to try an all space forward. There's 3 Haven players inside the Bars 45 and 2 more in the middle of the field. One of those is Mark Callahan, the other man is this man here, Jack Callahan. Mark Collins and Jack Callahan from the centre of the field, offloading to Cathal Maguire. Jack Callahan showing speed in the outside, rides the tackle, does Maguire, still on the run, working it up to the D exclusion zone, turns back on the left, on the loop out throws Brian Hurley off the left peg. Exemplary score from Brian Hurley.
Yeah, lovely score at the end of it from Brian again. It's just what he does really, but a good run from Cathal Maguire. Also an important ball for Jack Callahan to win, because he had dropped a couple and hadn't settled, but that should help him now to settle. And Cathal Maguire is a player with great speed, and he used it to good effect there.
Yeah, also interesting that Billy Hennessy starting today. He came on the last day. He hadn't played football all year, I think, until the hurlers lost and were knocked out, and he joined the panel for the quarter-final win over Éire Óg, and he's operating here at right half back in front of us.
Riding the tackle that occasion was Sam Ryan, and here comes the big engine of the Bars team, Ian Maguire, being met by Conor Callahan, offloading to Enda Dennehy. Dennehy seeing a man loose inside. That's Conor McCricker, the man from Royal County Down, evading 1, 2, 3 ways. Could have went for the shot himself. He went to be selflessness to pass to Maguire, and the Haven have intercepted. They've been let off on that occasion, and now can Mark Collins and his team capitalise on that error from the man from Down. There's David McCarthy now in possession. On the loop outside is Mark Collins looking for runners inside. Brian Hurley not seeing it's the right option. No, it is, he says. Long ball inside, 1-on-1. He saw space inside onto the off-rushing Michael Hurley. Hurley with a shot, and Hurley with the goal! Right on the stroke of the water break, and the Haven take the lead.
Well, even when Conor McCricker gave that, it felt like a big moment even before it went down the other end of the pitch and banged a goal at the other end. It should really be 3 points. Now we've got Castlehaven up 1 point, 1-4 to 1-3, so they're a point up when in reality there should probably be 5 down.
You could just see Mark Collins when he was in possession. He was looking for Brian Hurley to make that run, but when Brian Hurley went, Mark Collins found the ball and he just turned him on the sixpence 1-on-1.
Yeah, you could see Mark kind of gesturing to Brian to make a move, and Brian was pointing over the top, and his marker Alan O'Connor turned to look and covered it over the top, and Brian Hurley charged out to get a hand pass off Mark. How many times do they combine? On the other end with McCricker, like, it's one of those, I thought against Éire Óg the same in the quarter final. He looked nervous, he's clearly very talented, but you just join the Bars and you've Ian Maguire inside in front of goal. You think you have to give it. It was a shot on for himself, I'd say. You see here, he checks inside, Maguire is right in front of him. There's a shot on there, he just probably overdid it, and that's, I've been myself, when you mess up on the forward line and you hope that the play will get turned over again, but you see the ball going to the back net the other side, it's a sickener, but that's brilliant play there from the Haven.
Yeah, and it was brilliant work from Conor McCricker. I don't know why he passed it. I could guarantee I would not have passed it. I can guarantee it.
We've seen that for many years.
Two lovely side steps. You're 8 yards out. Go for goal. There's just I don't know why. I suppose as Paddy said with Ian Maguire, and if he misses it, but there was just no need to make the pass. It would have been a great goal. That could be a huge moment in this game.
Yeah, brilliant stuff though. 1-3 to 1-4 after just at the water break is great scoring, great excitement, everything we wanted to see.
That is the typical 6-point touchdown, as we'll call it, the 6-point turnover, that 1 goal at one end and you go up and concede the goal at the other end.
Yeah, but I think neither team will be panicking here at this stage. But again, 2 very experienced teams, 2 teams who will back themselves just to keep on getting the scores, and we're in for a cracker. This is going back to old school man on man stuff, so it's going to make for an exciting game unless someone changes their tactic here.
So the game resumes with the kick out of John Kearns in the centre of the field over towards that far side. He's trying to ride a tackle. He dropped his head into the tackle, did Colm Scully, but then he was fouled in the secondary play by Conor Callahan. Scully takes the free into the corner quickly, looking for McCricker. The Bars for the first time behind in this game. Can they try and level it up quickly? Brian Hayes making an evading run. McCricker with a beautiful sidestep inside. Just over-carried the ball, had prior opportunity.
Yeah, look, a couple of poor moments there for Conor McCricker to be involved in. You'd hope now it doesn't affect his confidence too much. I just noticed in that play, though, that time, Rory Maguire was very quick to get back in front of the full back line. A slight change, a tweak from Castlehaven, I think.
Ronan Walsh started that play, playing it across over towards Brian Hurley, off the left peg, finding Michael, walking the ball outside to David Whelton, with looks up, it lands short in towards the arms of John Kearns. We're into the 18th minute of this second semi-final. Clonakilty awaiting the winners in a fortnight's time. A game that'll throw in at 3 o'clock here in a Páirc Uí Chaoimh. Colm Scully just standing up. Well, he's lucky not to get a free conceded against him for over-carrying the ball, even though he did have the advantage. Referee John Ryan happy enough to give him the benefit of the doubt. As John Kearns doing a bit of a sweeper-keeper like what Mark White was doing for Clonakilty in the opening game. And Maguire now halfway between the 45 and 65. Man who has captained Cork for the last 3 seasons, of course, including that famous victory over Kerry, 53 weeks ago now. What a game that was on a dark November evening. Ball worked back out towards Sam Ryan. Jamie Burns looking to switch the play over towards that far side. As ended Dennehy now getting himself involved in the play over towards Colm Scully. Scully bringing it up towards the 45-metre line, riding the tackle. He's evaded 3 defenders. He's got in by the 21. Chance of a goal! Stephen Sherlock! He's on fire!
Again, if you just go back to that play earlier on, it looked like Ian Maguire was going to be bottled up, but actually 3 Castlehaven fellas came to him and he was able to be recycled over. And again, going back to what this game is, it's back to 1-1. Just one break, and again, when Stephen Sherlock is inside, you definitely pass the ball to him, and he rattles again. That's the second one already, and that's a big, huge boost for the Bars now.
What a run by Colm Scully though from the left half back position, evaded 3 tacklers and found a space in behind the Haven defence. It's incredible the quality of football we're seeing in this second semi-final from both attacking teams. Here's Mark Collins now looking to try and cancel out that goal. It's on again. Colm Maguire. Oh, it could have been a 4th goal. Well, there is a free going to be awarded, but this is exemplary stuff.
Yeah, it could be like there's so many chances at both ends. It's so open, so enjoyable to watch. Some coaches will probably be tearing the hair out at some of the defending, but like Paddy was just pointed to me off the ball, the amount of space for someone like Brian Hurley inside there. It's brilliant to see 2 teams going at it, and I hope it doesn't change. But as a coach, you'll be looking at it going, that's dangerous, very dangerous.
Yeah, like Sam Ryan was picking up Michael Hurley in that last play there. He was on Brian Hurley, and there was nobody inside in about 50 yards of space, and Mark Collins was carrying the ball. So, like, again, the Bars is playing a very dangerous game. They backed Sam Ryan the last day to quieten Daniel Goulding. You know, he's the best, probably the best man marker, I would say, in Cork. Sam Ryan is. And they're back him in there, himself and Alan O'Connor, to mark 2 Hurleys, but you see already there's goal chances, so it's grand if you can get away with it. But if the Hurley starts sticking away another 1 or 2, you won't be slow in seeing the Bars dropping off a small bit, I'd say.
Chance for Brian Hurley to reduce the margin down to the solitary point, and it's gone all the way in. Beautifully struck from Brian Hurley. He's already scored 8 points on place ball in this championship, and that is another one to add to the tally.
Yeah, and look, he looks in the mood today, really, doesn't he? And no more than Stephen Sherlock at the other end. You know, Stephen has been inside full. He out around centre forward now. He's drifted out once or twice, but the form he's in, and as Paddy touched on earlier, Damien prefers to be at centre back than full back. If I was a Bars coach, I'd be saying Stephen inside full forward and stay there. He's a little bit of switching with Conor McGregor, but you know, he's got 2 goals, and the last goal he scored, if you look at his run, he just lost the defender with a little jink and turned, and the run and pass at the right time.
Indeed, Dennehy losing his defender and plays it into the onrushing Ian Maguire going through the gate and was held up there by David McCarthy and Mark Collins. Well, David McCarthy definitely was one of the offenders on that occasion. That's another opportunity here for Sherlock to double the margin again. That was
like crash ball from yesterday against Ireland versus the All Blacks. Maguire just bursting through the tackle. But as John said again, that going back to Damien, he you know, he's such a good athlete and such a powerful man. You know, I think he does his best football around the middle. But going back to that last kick out again, I didn't expect it, but the Bars have gone short again. Colin Lyons caught his second short one there, just in the D. I think Conor Callan was trying to hold his position, and it was caught him short, and that score came directly from that short kick out. Score by Stephen Sherlock. Well, the Castlehaven men weren't happy because it looked like he
pulled another 2 or 3 yards to his advantage, but really it didn't make much of a difference as Sherlock converts that score once again. 2-2 to the name of Sherlock. What a blistering start from the bar set to forward as Seymour kicks this ball straight out in the full. And where you would wonder is Dennis O'Brien off the robbing a couple of yards here.
That was a punch. Yeah, he turned.
And something has happened here. Off the ball. You obviously, someone saw it there, lads.
Look, there was a bit of swinging, pulling and hauling, turned around, and look, what I saw was a strike. He definitely, he struck him, and Stephen's definitely feeling it. I don't know that the umpires see it.
You saying, is it Damien Cahalan is the offender?
Yeah, he was the closest man to him. He was him, yeah.
Okay, I haven't seen this. I was watching the ball in front of me. Peter O'Leary is getting an earful below from Dr. Paul O'Keefe, referee who actually did referee this game last year as well, and must add had an exemplary game in the final. And he's consulting his 2 umpires, and the 4 umpires are very, very experienced. And John Ryan now, well, Damien Cahalan hasn't seen him yet. Now he's going to see him here.
I don't think they've seen it.
No.
Are you
look,
disappointed in that?
No, look, it's... Well,
His anti-Castlehaven boys here.
No, but on a
no, I
genuine
don't want to be
note.
accused of that, no, Paddy. No, look, genuinely, no, I don't want to see, as Paddy said, we don't want to see fellas sit off. We want to see the best players here. The same thing as with what Brian Hayes, and they're having a good battle. But the reality of it is, it was a strike, and if the umpires had seen it, he'd be gone.
I'm wondering now, how's this a hot ball?
No, he was taking too long on the original sideline before the.
But sure, he was being told to come back.
Yeah, but he was taken from the wrong position, you see, so he was calling him on that time.
Well, that's the call. Bars might feel now they're justified. I don't blame them, but look, let's follow the play as it continues. As Colin Lyons now in possession to end the Dennehy. On the loop there was Colin Barrett. Back outside to Dennehy. Maguire is there off the shoulder run if he needs him. Dennehy sees Maguire inside. They're looking for the dink pass. Dangerous stuff. They're playing on the edge here, the Bars. The Haven are defending small but loosely back there, but here comes Mark Collins looking for runners. There's not too many of them as Jack Cahalan moves forward, looking to try and turn back at the right, and Jamie Burns again getting the better of those exchanges.
Yeah, and I mean, if Jamie Burns is dual player with a long time for the Bars.
Long ball inside here. Sherlock, he's going to try and turn his marker, looking for a 3rd point to his name. Send it right and wide.
McCricker there with a poor wide, but that's, John mentioned earlier how it was a big win there for Jack Cahalan a while ago in front of Jimmy Burns, but that's actually 3 balls I'd say he's lost now, and Jack had a brilliant spring in summer there with the hurlers of footballers on 20, but the reality is at this level the physicality is a huge step up, and he just wanted to be a bit tighter in securing possession.
Was McCricker with that wide, take that away from Stephen Sherlock. Free one for a pull of the jersey on the Castlehaven man. Chance for Mark Collins to try and set up another play. Switching outside to Conor Cahalan. End-to-end stuff in the opening 25 minutes of this second semi-final. An extraordinary game so far, as evading the tackle there. It looks like Conor Cahalan going straight through down to the 45. The gut of the Bars defence, popping the ball back outside. On the loop here is Michael Hurley. Hurley turning this, not turning it enough though.
Yeah, surprised Michael didn't get that one. You know, in his range, you'd expect him to score. Good run from Conor Cahalan. That might get him into the game a little bit. He hasn't been overly conspicuous either. So look, slight edge to the Bars at the moment, but it's all to play for.
Brian Hayes, that's brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and he's been stopped on the mark. And Mark Collins, well, if he didn't touch him, he would have been okay, but he did touch him, I'm afraid, and because of that, that's now a foul, and for the sentence being brought forward 20 metres.
That was outstanding stuff there from Brian Hayes. Like he's only 20 years of age, and he just hands up in the air and he just bumped his chest off the back of the Haven fella and just caught the ball clean, and he's going for the ball over the top here now for a goal from McCricker.
He's looking for the 1-on-1 inside. McCricker was climbing highest, he's still there and fighting, but the Haven have got an advantage inside that. And there's a chance now for the Haven to try and clear their lines once again through David Welton. Bars pressing high though. Good pressure from the City side, who went through their group 3 out of 3, defeating Ballincollig Island Rovers, Clonakilty, and of course that quarter-final win 2 weeks ago coming from behind to defeat Éire Óg with 14 men by 7 points in an extraordinary performance. Castlehaven also going through 4 out of 4. Heavy wins over Newcestown, Éire Óg. Rovers, as this ball's turned over, they had a win over Valleys in the quarter-final, as well as Dennis O'Brien switching the play, sloop around. Oh, it's a loose pass over towards that far side, giving no chance to Killian Myers-Murray over on that far side of the field.
Yeah, it was the right ball to try. Ian Maguire was going through the middle, but it was a 50-50 pass, and he actually spotted good vision, but just put too much on the pass. It would have been a good score. The Bars have coughed up a couple of chances there now, Paddy, that, you know, if they popped them over and put 3, 4, 5 points, they'd be in a better position.
Yeah, and just interestingly, Castlehaven have moved Jack Callan into full forward line, and Jamie Burns has followed him. Sam Ryan is now taking Brian Hurley up further out, and Michael Hurley's been picked up by Alan O'Connor, and Colm Scully is picking up Conor Driscoll.
Brian Hayes getting another hand in on that play as Maguire makes a run. Then he pops outside to Sherlock. Sherlock at the edge of the exclusion zone. Brilliant from Stephen Sherlock.
Yeah, and look, we're seeing 2 top-class forwards, 2 top-class Cork club forwards with the last number of years, and Stephen Sherlock and Brian Hurley. And Sherlock, I don't think he's missed a shot yet, has he?
No, and again in the last quarter against Éire Óg in the quarter-final, he was outstanding. In the whole game, he hardly missed a shot. He's just lethal. He just plays on the loop and gets the ball, and Damon was a bit loose on him that time.
Haven with another opportunity to try and reduce the margin. This time Conor O'Driscoll going all the way inside that near upright, and margin down to 2 points once again.
Yeah, another good score. Conor's playing quite well, and he's having a good season as well. He's probably doing the most himself, and maybe Cathal Maguire to take the load off the 2 Hurleys. But look, it's still a great game. Score for score, end to end, very enjoyable.
Kick out down in front of us. This time it's the Haven who come over on this occasion with Jack Cahalane looking to try and evade back inside. The Cork under 20 Jewel star looking for the Cork superstar Brian Hurley. He's 1-on-1 inside with Sam Ryan. Ryan's under pressure. Hurley's going in. Is there a shot going in? A goal just fumbled it at the crucial time across the face of goal. Man free. Conor Driscoll. What a block inside there by the Bars defender. That's brilliant, exemplary execution of the block.
Yeah, on that first initial attack, that was great play from Sam Ryan. He managed to stop Brian Hurley. Brian in that situation normally gets a goal chance, and this is a great break on here now for Alan O'Connor. Alan
O'Connor with a chance after a great ball from Brian Hayes outside to Enda Denny, back inside to Conor McCricker, but there was a foul off the ball on Enda Denny, got pushed off the ball, and it's a soft free to give away from a Haven point of view.
Yeah, and look, it's more great action. We've been very complimentary of the forwards here, but that was very good defending on 2 counts, as Paddy said. Sam Ryan, first of all, to hold Brian out in a 1-on-1 situation, and then a great block from Colm Scully, who's been impressive in this game so far. So big chance for a score, and Bars, turn it over, go down the other end of the pitch, and you expect Stephen to kick this, and it's one of those 2-point swing moments again.
So a chance now for Stephen Sherlock to make it 2-4 to the name of S. Sherlock and converts, with additional time of 3 minutes to be added.
Yeah, and that's Stephen Sherlock 2-4. I don't know, is there 2-1 from play anyway? As John said, his scoring record at club level is phenomenal. He's just always hovers in around the D, and the Bars look to give him every single ball, and there's very good reason why. That's an unbelievable kick pass.
Oh well, I can see why the man was holding him off the ball to leave. Was that Colm Maguire go through a goal? Yeah, so
Colm Scully was pulled off the ball by Conor Driscoll. Conor Driscoll trying to stop him from tearing through the middle. So probably a good spot, unless I'm mistaken in the replay.
Michael Hurley. It's Conor Driscoll.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Conor Driscoll. Yeah.
Who's been spotted? Is this a third man tackle?
No. So the ball was being played through to the runner, and Conor Driscoll was corner forward, and his man Scully was reading it and was going to cut it out, and Conor Driscoll tried to grab his hand and pull him back, and it was well spotted, to be fair, by the ref.
A pity from a Castlehaven point of view. It was a superb kick pass down the pitch, and it was a good chance if they hadn't given away a free. Bars breaking now again.
With Billy Hennessy over towards that far side of the field as Maguire, the engine of the team, running straight forward in through on goal. There's a man running inside and out. Back outside it goes on the loop from McCrickard. Shot going in here from a Bars point of view. Going for the flag as the umpire. That is a brilliant score from Killian Myers-Murray.
Yeah, a great score there. Again, sensible play from the Bars as Billy Hennessy was carrying it, and Maguire was off him for ages waiting for it, and Maguire didn't panic, popped it to McCrickard, who in turn, probably after a few poor possessions, popped it off to Myers-Murray, and a lovely finish.
Killian's first contribution since that 17 points to 111 win over Island Rovers. His 2 games in the interim as David McCarthy has ended up on the floor off the ball. Conor Cahalane with possession. Outside to Rory Maguire. Chance here now for Maguire. Well, under pressure now. Mark Collins inside her. That's a pull of the arm, one over the top. But Dennis O'Brien got a hand inside her. Try to flick it back inside. But Mark Collins is inside her, fighting and scoring for it. 1 minute of injury time to go. There's a long ball inside looking for Brian Hurley. He's 1-on-1 with Sam Ryan. He's going to be joined by Jamie Burns shortly. He's going in down by the byline. Hurley looking to go for a shot. Great dummy, sold to Candy. Turn back left. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, look, it's class. And Brian is class. And look, I think it's the best football he's played in a few years. You know, some of his injury problems seem to hopefully be behind him. And when Brian is on form, you know, he's as good as there is obviously in this county, and he's as good as most forwards in the country if he can get back to his best.
Yeah, physically that was a great win with Sam Ryan, and then the skill to dummy back onto his left and just the comfort to pop it over, and a good break one there by Jack Cahalane.
Cahalane with the possible final phase of play as Jamie Walsh just fouled there by Enda Dennehy. We're into the closing stages of additional time awarded by a referee. Of course, all concerns with the referee, it's all down to him. Brian Hurley turning his back on the player, turning back inside. Damien Cahalane pops the ball inside to Colin Maguire, fished outside to Michael Hurley. Great save by John Kearns. We're after having so many goal chances, but what a cracking opening half of Bonsecours, I should say, Premier Senior Football semi-final action. St Finbarrs 2-7, Castlehaven 1-7. What an entertaining opening 30 minutes.
Yeah, look, it's been brilliant. It's been breathless. I don't think we've stopped for any pause during the whole game apart from the water break. You know, I've lost count of how many goal chances there's been. You know, we've seen 3 goals, 9 scores to 8. Brilliant forward displays from Stephen Sherlock and Brian Hurley. You know, Mark Collins versus Ian Maguire having their battle at midfield. There's so much going on, so much to enjoy. We talked it up a lot. I'm glad it hasn't let us down after the build-up we gave it.
Yeah, and interestingly, James McCarthy and Paul O'Keefe both had words with the referee. Actually, I think it was Mick Commons, was it? But both having their little say there at half time. Not sure if they're unhappy about anything in particular. But yeah, as John said, a cracking game. Even that last attack there from the Haven, Damien Cahalane was further out the field. He carried ball there as he does so well. Stephen Sherlock was left in his wake, and again it created the opportunity. Michael maybe could have looked to pop it, but again the kind of forwards, Michael Bryan, they go for these things. Worth a shot, but good save from John Kearns. So cracker of a game, real high tempo stuff. 2-7 to 1-7. You know, both these teams are showing why we thought they were the favourites for the county, and it's a cracking game, and we've a great second half in store.
Yeah, sure do indeed. Welcome back to the commentary position. Patrick Mulcahy beside Patrick Kelly and John Hayes. What an extraordinary opening 30 minutes. Let's get the highlights reel going, because we had so many goal chances early in the game, but with the opening goal of the game coming the way of Stephen Sherlock. Oh, what a cracking goal it was, John Hayes.
Yeah, 2 great goals from Stephen, and look, he's just one of those forwards that when he gets into that position, you just expect the goal. You know he's going to score. And Brian doing the same down at the other end. Look, we have the replay of it here. You know, popped off to, and look, that could have been a difficult one. It wasn't an easy chance because he was forced a little bit wide. Anthony Seymour forced him wide, but you know he's comfortable off both feet and buried it. So look, yeah, he's showing his quality.
Here was another goal opportunity, Jen, for the Bars later on in the game. And a second goal for Stephen Sherlock, this was.
Yeah, well, I'd say in the first one there, I was thinking Damien did well. He was unselfish. He came in and blocked in, and then he forced him to pass the wide to Sherlock. And you'd think maybe Seymour could have smothered it. For that one there, it was very similar to the county final. Luke Connolly, Mark and Damien Cahalane, the full forward, and he checked back in. And that time you see it, he checked back in, and Damien was caught on the inside. And you know, Sherlock is lethal. Like, he just hovers around there, and he's not the quickest, and he doesn't move massively, but just those 5-6 yards, he's lethal, and a great finish. You know, he's in flying form, and 2 goals, 2-1 I'd say from play. He's given Damien a tough time of it.
The Haven have had their own chances too, though. Let's start off with Michael Hurley's goal in the 17th minute, though. A real cracking finish by the corner forward.
Yeah, and look, the ball into Brian. He got there was an early goal chance there that Brian just pulled it across the goal, and they've had another 4 or 5 goal chances as well. John Kearns has made a couple of good saves. The goal they actually got, long ball to Brian. Brian took on the defender, and Michael just came off the shoulder, got the little pop, and a great finish as well. Like, so, yeah, might be repeating yourself, but there's quality forward play here to admire, and very much enjoyable. As Paddy said, it's a little bit the opposite of the first game, where defences were probably a little more on top. Both teams sat deep and tried to run the ball. Both these teams are set up, you know, old school traditional football, players sticking to their position.
That was just missed there by Colin Maguire on that occasion.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the goal chances you're seeing are from players running through the middle because there's no extra defenders, and any break, if you make a break from midfield, you use the overlap and you're just running it. We saw the Castlehaven goal came from a Crickard goal chance there. He tried to pop to Maguire, turned over and it's straight down the other end. It's that kind of game, like things can change in an instant. So while the Barrs up by 3 points, I certainly wouldn't say the Haven are panicking. An experienced team who got to our last year's county final. While I would have given the nod slightly to the Barrs before the game, you still wouldn't say that with any confidence because this game could change in an instant. The way both teams are playing, you could see 2 or 3 goals rattled here very quickly.
Okay, I'm told we have a clip of the possible red card incident that happened off the ball up the field. Let's see if we can have a look at it, because it was Dennis O'Brien who was having the sideline ball in front of the Barrs dugout, and just at the top of the screen, I don't know if we can catch it, but right at the top we can see the legs of Damien Cahalane as the ball's being walked inside. Cahalane is just kind of dragging on the man, holding on to Stephen Sherlock.
Yeah, that's
there's a strike.
I'd say we both on the receiving end of that right hand before, John. Damien got away with that one. I'd say, as you see, he was swinging off his left arm, and just as they kind of went round, it was a little right jab into the ribs, I'd say. And if the umpire saw that, he was gone. But as you can see, their referee was focusing on hopping the ball there for time wasting. Not time wasting, but taking too long on the sideline, so got away with it.
Yeah, I think the umpires might have been just blindsided as well. And look, so we don't want to harp on about it. We want to see the two 15s going at it as it is. But, I've been in that position myself, and if you do that and you're tangling with someone and you get caught, it's usually a red card. I think Damien got away with one there. It was a dig. He didn't absolutely clock him or anything, but it was a dig, and any strike in this day and age is a red card. So Castlehaven getting away with one there, but as neutrals, for the spectacle, that's probably something that we're not too upset about.
The running from both sides, though, I know it's completely different because the middle is where the Barrs are working from compared to Castlehaven. They're playing the long ball, looking for the 2 hurleys inside, who are then looking for runners off left and right.
Yeah, I suppose the 2 key players around the middle is Maguire for Barrs and Mark Collins for the Haven. And Mark's game is all about looking up to kick the ball. He's looking for Jack Callan on the 40 or the hurleys coming from further in, and whereas Maguire, it's generally about running it and giving it and going and just trying to create the overlap and power through. And both of them are outstanding players. 2 of the best players in Cork for the last ones of a decade. 2 crucial players who are going up against each other on the kickouts and stuff. But it's just a very entertaining game. The styles are similar enough. Again, both teams going man for man. Even when you see a player break through the middle, you don't see the defence closing in at all. They're very much, take your own man and see what happens. So, as a neutral, it's making for a great spectacle. As John said, maybe as a coach, there might be question marks, but both teams tend to back themselves. I can't see either side changing and looking to get a bit more defensive at all.
Let's have a look at the chance McCrickard had moments ago, or in that first half, I should say. And it was a golden opportunity when he offloaded to Maguire.
Yeah, it was, and I suppose it's probably nerve-wracking as a newcomer. I suppose it was lovely here. He shakes to go right and checks inside. Maguire's run is right down the middle, and he's forced onto probably his weaker foot, left foot, but still it's a shot all day long there, to be fair, and Damien read it well and intercepted. And as I said, it's a killer from McCrickard. This ball gets worked all the way up and into the back of the net at the other end. It's McCrickard has a mixed bag so far. I think he kicked a nice one from play, and he popped another one off for a score from play from Myers Murray, I think. So, but he's lost a few. So we can see he's dangerous and probably just still settling into the team.
But he's really fitting into this Barrs side, though. It's something, not that the Barrs were missing anyway, but he's an addition to add on to what they already have.
Yeah, and look, it's kind of someone to take some of the pressure off Stephen Sherlock. Like Paddy said, Conor McCrickard's movement has been good. He's been getting into good position and winning the ball, but he's passed up a couple of chances, missed a couple of chances, and turned over a couple of gave away a couple of hand passes and that kind of thing. So if he can get a score or 2 early in the second half, it could settle him, and it would be a big plus for the Barrs if they've 2 danger men inside and 2 scoring forwards, which Castlehaven have at the other end with the 2 hurleys. So Castlehaven in the second half, I wouldn't be surprised from if they take a little bit of a more conservative approach for a little while. Just say, look, maybe Rory Maguire might sit deeper in front of Stephen Sherlock and try and give assistance there. They'd back Brian and Michael especially to do damage, whether there's 2 or 3 bars around them. So will they tactically tweak it maybe, or will they keep going as it is and just have a shootout?
I've just been told in my ear Owen Finn was actually added to the Barrs squad So he's wearing number 32. So just have a look at the two benches, lads. You know, there's plenty of players to come on from both sides here.
Yeah, there is. I think the Bars have really gone for it in this game. You know, they haven't held back at all. They've played Myers, Murray, Barrett, Sherlock, and McCrickard. McGreevy's not starting 15. McGreevy would have played a lot. He didn't start the last either, but he's very dangerous playing around the D, around centre forward. So he's definitely an option to come in. Shields is obviously still there. Mike, wearing number 22 today. You know, he tends to come on. You know, around the middle towards the end of the game. So look, there is talent there on both sides. The Bars have had a bit of success. You know, they've had a lot of young fellas coming through. The way this game is going, like, they'll need to empty the bench because it's a real flat-out game. And we saw with Aero the last day against the Bars, they couldn't last the pace of it all. The last quarter, the Bars really took over. But both of these teams are seasoned, so you won't see that tail off, I'd say. And again, I'm not so sure. John would know more about the Haven strength and depth.
Yeah, looking at the benches, the Bars do seem to have the more options on the bench for Castlehaven to come in. You'd be looking at maybe someone like Roland Welton might come in, you know, use his physicality around the middle of the field, and you know, he's a good solid footballer as well. Kevin O'Donovan, a young player with potential as well, he might come in. And yeah, look for the Bars as well. Robbie Minahan will be probably another player that will probably come in. He's a young player as well, a forward, another dangerous forward. So Bars look slightly stronger on the bench, and the bench will have a big impact. But Castlehaven are not without their aces up their sleeve either.
I don't think we can rule out. We did have some bit of ET here last night as Dohenys were beaten by St. Michael's. It's not a million miles away. We could be heading for extra time, lads.
Oh yeah, easily. I mean, this game, I can't see either side pulling away in this game. But you know, just going back to that, like, both sides will leave their main men on. You know, I remarked in the first game, I thought with Clon and Douglas, they both lack an absolute top class finishing forward. The Sherlock on the Bars side and the Hurleys on the other side. And I thought with Douglas, you know, they took off him their free taker Russell, and it cost them afterwards, you know, the reliable free taker. Whereas both sides here, you know, have everything. They've ball winners in the middle. They're keeping fellas on the half forward line runners, and they have the scorers inside. So, you know, two very well balanced teams. You know, as I said, once Nemo were knocked out of in the group stage, you know, it was these two teams who we were expecting to see in a final. You know, the draw brought them together in the semi-final. Looking ahead to, like, you're looking at, I see the Clon lads below watching. You know, the final will be completely different. You're going to have Clonakilty underdogs going in with a system that draws men back and sits back and tries to hit on the break, whereas both these teams will look to just strong arm them and beat them. So it'll be, you know, whoever comes out of this will be an intriguing final because it'll be a completely different game.
As teams come back out onto the field, looks like no changes on either side to start this second half. I'm delighted to see that David Moran, who's actually on the sideline at this side, is now the standby official for John Ryan after doing 65 hard minutes in their opening semi-final. So best of luck, John Ryan. Hope you don't get to pull up. As we settle things back down, the sun starts to set over Cork City to our west side. And a chance for the Haven playing into the city end into the second half. The Bars leading 2-7 to a 7 as John Ryan throws in the ball. And Mark Collins winning the breaking ball from Jamie Walsh from the kick-out. Long ball in, looking for Jack Allen. Oh, there was a lazy hand across Jamie by Jamie Burns there. Referee didn't see it.
It would have been soft. There was contact right, but interestingly, Brian Hurley started at centre forward, being marked by Sam Ryan, while Jack Callan was inside. So they're trying to get Brian out and get a bit more ball.
Brian Hayes hasn't scored yet in this game, but has had a big influence so far. Towards Billy Hennessy, walking it down the line towards McCrickard. On the loop on the outside is Killian Myers-Murray. Smart ball inside, just couldn't shape it to Stephen Sherlock, and that was a dangerous ball, lads.
Yeah, that ball was on, to be fair. If he just popped it inside, he probably overhit it a small bit, but again, you see Sherlock, he doesn't stray far from the goal. He was looking to check back and get back in the danger zone.
Jamie Walsh now walking through the lines, and here comes David McCarthy up towards the 45-metre line, looking for runners inside and out. The outside runner is Mark Collins. Collins walking across the 45-metre line, still moving across, looking for the runner across. But Brian Hurley was marshalled all the way back by the engine room of Ian Maguire, and here he goes on another long bursting run, scoops the ball away out towards Dennis O'Brien, and O'Brien pops the ball outside to Colin Lyons. Lyons looking to switch the play and does over into space to the far side of the field. Here's Enda Dennehy now. Scored 1-3 in this championship already. He's lost a marker Dennehy going in towards the 45-metre line, steadies the feet outside of the exclusion zone, looking to extend the lead. He doesn't, going right and wide.
Yeah, John mentioned beforehand he was questioning whether Rory Maguire starts sitting off. He was there, whether that was just in that play or not, but it could be a sign that the Haven are maybe looking to tighten things up.
Yeah, it's a missed opportunity there for St. Finbarrs. They've missed a few chances now. They probably on balance had more opportunities, and you know they could be further ahead in this game.
There's a puck to kick out down towards the centre of the park, and Jamie Walsh getting through, evading tackles, and Jack Cahalan now inside the 65-metre line. Oh, brilliant. That's, you just can't put words to the tackle of Jamie Burns there.
No, and I like Jack Callahan was, again, I'll say it again, he was unbelievable in the summer for hurlers and footballers 20s, but the physicality at senior level, at Premier Senior level now in football is massive, and you know the Bars are seasoned players, and he's just getting caught in possession. That was probably the fourth one. You know, he probably has to start keeping it simple and stay out of contact.
Crickard looking to try and take on the defence, faced up by Cathal Maguire, as the ball's walked back outside to Billy Hennessy outside the 45-metre line. A little bit more stationary than what we had, and a bit more static, as Dennis O'Brien's getting pinned for juggling the ball.
Yeah, and look, that's something we didn't really see in the first half. Nearly every time both sides went forward, they created an opportunity. That was Castlehaven sitting a little bit back and saying, you know, the trend in this second half could be a little bit different. I like it. They're happy to leave just the two hurleys up now at this stage, I'd say.
Yeah, Damien Cahalan played a long ball, and the body check call looked the right call there against Brian Hurley.
Yeah, but brilliant defending from Sam Ryan. Like Damien looked to kick it straight away, and Sam Ryan kind of matched Brian Hurley in the foot race and broke the ball away brilliantly.
Colin Lyons just seeing his captain Maguire fall to the floor. Maybe just pushed in off the ball as Stephen Sherlock gathering his feet once again under pressure from Conor Cahalan. Ball walked inside. Brian Hayes looking to try and turn the marker. He's turning Michael Hurley inside, and Hayes just creeping it inside the near upright. The Bars extend the lead to 4 points.
Yeah, good score, and Brian Hayes has been quite impressive here today, actually. You know, another Cork under-20 dual star. From a football perspective, he looks a real prospect anyway, and someone probably Keith Ricken will be taking a close look at.
Yeah, he looks tailor-made for the senior county game, doesn't he? He's only 20 years of age, and he's a massive athlete, so good score there. Angle was tight, so he just popped it over the bar for a good score to put the Bars back 4 up.
David McCarthy, not too many options, so he has to go backwards to Johnny O'Regan. O'Regan going across the 21-metre line, switches over towards that far side. As dusk starts to fall here, hopefully the lights will be coming on shortly, as Jamie Walsh now, long ball up across to the centre of the field. Rory Maguire side to Johnny O'Regan. Ball worked back outside, and Damien Cahalan with a long bursting run. Stephen Sherlock can't go with him for pace. Good run here from Damien Cahalan, looking for the 2-on-2 situation. He sees the 1-on-1 on the right. That's Brian Hurley, turns the man inside, turning Sam Ryan. Hurley the shot, and Hurley with the goal.
So we're talking about Damien Cahalan, and I know he's been pinned back by Sherlock. He took off there from the half-back line. He created the overlap, and it was his initial run. And again, I've talked about like Sam Ryan, how good a defender he is, but again, you're talking about Brian Hurley here, and you're leaving 1-on-1. The Bars are playing a dangerous game, and they were made to pay for it there.
Yeah, look, and that as well with Brian 1-on-1 on side with Sam. Like I'd mark Sam, I know how good he is, but physically he's probably not quite as strong as Brian. In a show there, Brian just went straight at him and brushed past him and buried it. Another great goal. You know, it's a great game.
And they're going 1-on-1 again. Long ball in by Mark Collins. The mistake by the centre back Alan O'Connor. Here's Michael Hurley going across the face of goal. Oh, just crept over the crossbar, and we're back to a level game once again for the first time. Well, we never actually had a level game here, lads. Actually, believe it or not.
Yeah, this is brilliant stuff. Again, John will go back and say the coaches, you might be going, this is madness in terms of how open they're leaving it, but you know, this is what football was like, you know, going back 20 plus years ago maybe, and it's, you can see why people would be crying out for the old days, because this kind of football is excellent. You know, it's a forwards game here today, and forwards on both sides are showing how good they are.
And there's some great art of defending as well, as Dennis O'Brien was being fouled 2 if not 3 times in that passage of play. What a game of football we're after having here. I thought we couldn't top October 4, 2020. They'll be talking about the November 14th, 2021 for a long time after the opening 36 minutes of this game, as Colin Lyons gets into the possession along with Cullum Scully. Sees a runner of Hayes inside, but thought better, goes outside to Dennis O'Brien, who's been closely marshalled there on that occasion by Cathal Maguire, and Then he sprays it to Hennessy and switches it to Killian Murray over towards the far side. Colin Barrett, Murray kept on the run, just got a touch in it, but the ball going out for a wide ball.
Yeah, and look, Castlehaven look like they're starting to kind of get to grips with the Barrs running game a little bit more. They're dropping deep. Like, we do have two contrasting styles here. The Barrs fit and athletic and tend to run the ball. Castlehaven more with the direct kicking into the hurleys. And Castlehaven look like they've made a little bit of a tweak now and have turned the Barrs over the last couple of times, so maybe they're getting to grips with them a little bit.
Sure, just looks in a bit of trouble when Cahalan gets away from Damien, kept on that run. And here he is once again. He's advantage all the way up to the full forward line, and they're looking at all the space inside the him. Look what Damien Cahalan's gone inside the full forward line. So is Cathal Maguire. Here's Brian Hurley, shaped it, sold Sam Ryan the candy, went in, going by the edge of the square, but two good tackles from Alan O'Connor, and Sam Ryan dispossesses, and the Barrs coming away with possession.
Yeah, that was outstanding there from Alan O'Connor, number 6. He saw that the danger of Sam Ryan was 1-on-1 against Brian Hurley, and to be fair, he went over and doubled up, and very disciplined tackle, and that's probably a bit more sensible from the Barrs in terms of defending.
I can tell you the Haven are getting Roland Welton ready very shortly indeed. As there's a man, well, he was pulled to the fore there. Colin Lyons has an advantage coming. Bit clumsy from Damien Cahalan. He goes back, referee, no advantage coming. Damien Cahalan says, come on pal, I didn't do anything wrong there.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why he pulled that back for the free. It's not a scoreable free, so there's no big advantage. Well, now Stephen Sherlock would make me eat my words if he pings one with the outside of the boot. But just going back to last incident there with Brian Hurley, took on Sam Ryan, and as Paddy said, Alan O'Connor came back on the double, and that's what they need to do for the rest of the game. You know, as a number 6, you can't leave Brian Hurley one-on-one with no one else near in any situation.
Yeah, Owen Commons coming onto the field. I thought he might have been injured, the fact he didn't start, so he's come on for Dennis O'Brien. So Commons, I can see there, will go midfield with Maguire. That would have been their midfield partnership for before Brian Hayes came on the scene. Brian Hayes is going into centre forward, I'd imagine. And one of the lads will be pushed out there, Barrett or Myers Murray will go to the wing. So we'll see Hayes operating as centre forward, and a midfield partnership of Commons and Maguire for the Barrs.
And there was a substitution for the Haven as well, and Roland Welton coming on for Cathal Maguire. And you see Brian Hurley to our right hand side looking for a pair of gloves. As Stephen Sherlock now setting himself up outside that 45-metre line. Well, we haven't seen this before. We have seen this before from Sherlock. He has scored some outrageous free kicks. Sherlock straight up into it. Didn't get him as good as Johnny Sexton yesterday against the All Blacks, though, going left and wide.
Yeah, I think they're probably better off working something short there. I'm quite surprised that Cathal Maguire's been taken off this early if he's not struggling with an injury or something. You know, he's had a good season and is, you know, a scoring forward. Roland, you know, has probably played more of his football in the backs. So they're looking to kind of up the work rate and maybe the physicality around the middle for Castlehaven.
Substitution on the Barrs. McGreevy is coming on for Killian Murray, who probably has had a disappointing game from his standards.
Yeah, look, still only very young. McGreevy, very talented player, would normally play around the 40. Anywhere around there, really. He's a good man to link the play. But again, another scoring forward, forward threat coming in. As John said, Welton going on the Castlehaven side is more of a signal that they're maybe looking to tighten things up a small bit.
This is some tussle between Mark Collins and Ian Maguire. It's worth the admission fee any day alone. I'd love to see the training ground stuff as well with Cork, if I could ever get some action with that, because it's been what a tussle it has been all day.
Yeah, look, it is, and you know, I saw both players up close this year with Cork, and they're both
free admission.
I did. They're both quality players. I mean, you'd look at it and say that they could make a dream partnership. Maybe Martin just lacks the little bit of physicality for midfield inter-county. Brian Hayes, looking at him, he has that physicality. So, you know, 3 quality midfielders to be watching today.
Yeah, great press there on from the Barrs. It was Colin Lyons, number 5 for the Barrs, pressed that ball. The Haven fella, I don't know who it was, but Dave McCarthy just a bit lax on it. McCreevy, great run, great turn, and Hayes on here for pass on.
Loose on side here into Maguire. Maguire looking for a goal, going for a shot across the square. McQuicker with the goal, no, cancelled. It's going to be cancelled because the square says John Ryan. Now I'm sure he's going to check it. McQuicker has got the goal, but the flag is not being waved. Now it's being checked. We'll have to wait and see the decision. And referees, yes. Square ball. The 2 umpires told them straight away it's a free out.
I think he definitely probably was in the square. Was Ian Maguire in the square? He's just inside, just one
Just
foot
in the
inside.
square. Yeah, it's a good
It's
call.
tight. That's another big moment in this game.
The good call from John Ryan though. Long ball towards the centre of the park. Touchdown there by the Castlehaven man, and a chance now for Mark Collins to try and set up another attack. It's another moment in the highlights reel for after the game, undoubtedly, as the ball's worked forward inside by Conor O'Driscoll. Look at the far right, and Brian Hurley, he's turning his man again. Hurley looking for another goal this time, he's got it! Oh, brilliant ball in from O'Driscoll, and Hurley, he is on fire.
That's different class there from Brian. He was so nonchalant, stroking home off his weak foot just into the corner. Again, poor old Conor McCricken on the other side. That's the second goal that's come directly from a goal opportunity from him. He should really have been disciplined enough to be outside the square on that attack, because it was fairly obvious once Hayes got the break on that Maguire was going to be ploughing through for a goal chance. So that's a huge swing there now again for the Haven.
The second 6-point turnaround of the game against the Bars.
Yeah, it is. Look, you can't keep doing that. You can't miss chances at one in for a goal and then allow the opposition to go down and score. But again, Brian Hurley 1-on-1 with 40-50 yards of space. That's a nightmare for a defender.
McCrickard is a nightmare too at times as well, but that's not the greatest shots from the man from County Down, going left and wide.
No, it's not really happening from it all today. New to the setup, probably feeling the pressure. His movement is excellent, and he's very good ball handling skills. But you certainly say it's swung in the Haven's favour here. But at the same time, this could very easily swing back to Bars. The Bars are really going for the Haven, aren't exactly setting up or shutting up shop. So
is it now time to get someone back? Like, we're after conceding 3 goals from Bars' point of view. Do you now need to start trying to play a sweeper on Brian Hurley, because the two of them are just on top of the parallelogram waiting for the runs, just like this one from Conor Cahalan, seeing Brian Hurley, and there's a mark.
Yeah. It kind of feels like almost the damage is done now, though, doesn't it? To be trying to make that move, you nearly want to be ahead, but they're 3 points behind now on the scoreboard. Brian has got his 2 goals in this second half, and the damage is a little bit done.
Brian Hurley inside the 15 seconds just converts the mark.
Yeah, you'd have to say no, as John said, like you're now going down 4 points down. If you drop a man off, you're trying to claw that gap back, you're going to be up against it. So, but it's making for an outstanding game. I feel sorry for Sam Ryan, because there's all the space in the world there for Brian to move, and he's lethal today. He's on fire. Jamie Burns is in big pressure here.
He's under pressure, but he's got a helping hand there from Enda Denny, who just fended off as if he was an All Black yesterday. Got a ball outside, but the advantage is coming. There was a foul on Enda Denny over that far side, so it is a free for the Bars over that far side of the field. It's going to be brought forward for descent. Chance for Stephen Sherlock time, as does Spotfair's now starting to bust out here, bits and pieces here and there. Conor O'Driscoll and Owen Commons getting themselves in on the action, but it's a chance now for Stephen Sherlock. Brian Hurley's got 2-5 to his name. Can Sherlock go and match that now with this free kick about 30 yards out? Not easy by all means, but you would expect it from Sherlock's point of view that he should be able to get this. Stepping into it, robbing a few yards from John Ryan. He's kicked it left and wide.
Yeah, and look, it does feel like the momentum is totally gone against the Bars. They're starting to struggle. They're going to need something from the bench. If there's 15 minutes of Michael Shields, you have to get him in there now, don't you?
Yeah, the Bars would be happy to see the water break here to settle things down, because they've lost their way a small bit. The Haven coming again strong through the middle here. David
McCarthy, long ball, looking for another mark inside. Just hasn't worked out on this occasion, as coming into the ball, Conor O'Driscoll being phased up here by Colm Scully, does well, holds him up. Ball back outside to Brian Hurley. Thinks about the shimmy, turns it back outside to Jack Cahalan, looking for the runner. Nobody home inside. There's an accidental clash of heads down underneath us. Well, I thought there was for a second. Play continues on, says our official. 50-50 ball, and it's the Bars who come out with it. On this occasion, trying to break away through the gate was Colm Scully for a crash ball. Free out. Yeah, the Haven, probably Jack Callahan turned down the wrong way. He should have gone away and back into the pitch to get some space. Colm Scully read it well and attacked it. The Bars, you can see the Haven now have dropped 1 or 2 men back. Mark is sitting back a bit here now, but again, that will only invite the Bars on, and that's what their game's all about, is running strong through the middle. And if any man wants to take the game on, it's McGreevy, and he's coming forward. Left peg with a solo, right peg with the shot. Wide. As we go to the water break, the Bars have turned, the Haven have turned the half-time 3-point deficit around into a 4-point lead.
Well, we're looking at this now, and it's a little bit of, if the Bars did have a failing, it was that they've always been too reliant on Stephen Sherlock, and today the rest of the forwards really haven't the supporting cast hasn't shown up for them really. They haven't got the scores that they needed to support Stephen Sherlock. Castlehaven, if you look at it now off the ball, Castlehaven are sitting at least one in front of Stephen Sherlock. They know if they keep Stephen Sherlock quiet for the next 15 minutes, they're probably going to win this game. I see Michael Shields is ready to come in, so he could be very influential if he can get in, if his fitness levels are there, if he's played a little bit of football. How much has he done? But if he's anywhere near fit, then he can have an impact here.
Yeah, look, again, there's no panic from the Bars. It's there'll probably be there's 40 minutes, probably 3 or 4 minutes injury time, 18 minutes, 4-point gap is nothing, especially the way this game is going. They've an experienced management side, they're an experienced team. I wouldn't rule them out at all. This game could easily swing the other way. Bars just have been very wasteful there. Sherlock missed an easy for him, an easy enough free, and there McGreevy going through. That was a handy score, so those small things matter. But as we saw in the last game, Douglas coming back into it, things can change very, very quickly. But look, it's the makings of a cracking last quarter.
What are you saying if you're Dr. Paul O'Keefe in the middle of this huddle?
I'd just keep the heads, I'd say, and just start to use the ball, make better decisions going forward. I think it's too late at this stage, as John said, to start dropping off at all, because you're chasing the game. For Sam Ryan, Jamie Burns and O'Connor in the back line, like it's a unforgiving task in there with the Haven forwards. Again, very impressed from the Haven. They're isolating the boys inside, Brian inside. Conor Driscoll has been impressive running on the 40 across the line, showing for ball. So look, the Haven are favourites here, no doubt about it, but you wouldn't rule the Bars out at all yet.
Floodlights starting to come on, 3/4 on. Drawn over on the full side. We've only got a half on this side, waiting for the right half side of the field to switch on. Might have a bit of time as the ball's coming from the city end. Not as cold as a fortnight ago, but plenty as warm with the tempo and the heat in the field starting to rise as there's a Bar substitution as Michael Shields is coming on here for Enda Dennehy. Anthony Seymour's kick-out has been successful with fruition once again, finding Michael Hurley on the loop. Jack Cahalane looking to try and switch the play. Plays it back inside. Over towards that far side to Roland Whelton. As the lights start to turn on fully now, and what an opening 46 minutes we've had so far. Yeah, but the Haven need to turn it on a bit more now.
Yeah, in this play here now, Michael Shields has just gone sitting back in the D there, sweeping in front of Brian Hurley. I didn't think they'd do it, chasing the game, because Castlehaven now will probably just play the ball around. The Haven have moved Brian Hayes into full forward. And he, Damien Callan.
He's gone now out of the sweeper zone now, because he's up outside the 45-metre line. And it's a chance now for Jack Cahalane or maybe Roland Whelton to find the one-man full forward line. Here is Whelton, long ball. There's the blind sider of Brian Hurley. The runner's got inside, but Hurley's going to go himself. He just might want to take the score. That's a poor effort from Brian Hurley after scoring 2-5 already.
But brilliant play again there, just the run from Brian Hurley. Alan O'Connor tried to cut it out, and Brian could maybe have played it to Michael, but to be fair, it was on his left foot in the D. But you saw there, Michael Shields had to push up after a while, because the Bars or the Haven were just playing around with it, and that again created the space. Great fetch from Commons midfield.
Savage mark claimed in there by Owen Commons, offloading to Ian Maguire. Shows a burst of speed, breaking the tackle, looking to try and look for the runners left and right. Not too many of them options. McGreevy ran off the shoulders. He just spooks the ball back outside to McCrickard, and the Bars just need to get a score to settle themselves back into the game, to reduce it to a score. Conor McCrickard at the 45-metre line now. Not too many options, because the Castlehaven house defensively looks well settled. Possession with Stephen Sherlock. Back outside to Owen Commons now. Look at the switch to play over towards that far side of the field. He's got a runner outside, and Jamie Burns has another runner outside him. Looks like Cullum Scully over on that far side of the field. Scully turns back inside. Oh my God, Brian Hayes with an effort, turning back left inside with a goal shot. Unbounced. McCrickard buried to the back of the net. Pinball machine, and finished. The Bars back to a point.
Fair play to McCrickard. Criticised him once or twice, maybe things didn't go his way. He rattled that well. There was a slip on the far side there from someone from the Haven, just created the opening there for Brian Hayes. Game back, well and truly back on now, because the Haven had sat off there. Roland Whelton was sitting in the D, and it's down to a 1-point game. Exciting last 15 minutes ahead.
Well, the clock in the stadium hasn't restarted, so that was in the 49th minute, and there's a turnover here, and the Bars from all of a sudden could turn it on into a level game. Stephen Sherlock took a slip off the left peg. Oh yes! Stephen Sherlock! Come at the hour, come at the man!
Yeah, great finish in the end, because it kind of looked like he nearly lost the opportunity, made it difficult for himself, but he's so good with both feet and so accurate, and this kick out is just about kept it in.
Just touched outside the 20-metre line. And of course he could touch it back in once it's touched outside. As running forward here, Johnny O'Regan, 3-9 apiece. There's a heavy hit here and turnover ball once again from the Bears' point of view. Is Michael Shields throwing his body in on the line. He's being fouled by Jack Cahalan, and it's a chance for the Bears.
Yeah, we've seen there the Bears, and we saw it against Air Oaks in the quarter final. Like, they're relentless in terms of their pressure game. It's got a bit probably greasy out there. I see lads have got the gloves on now. That's both the last two kickouts for the Haven. They've been turned over in possession. And the Bears, Shields doing a good free there and slowed it down, and this is again a kickable score for kickable free for Sherlock.
3-9 apiece, 3-9 the Bears, 3-9 Castlehaven, 2-5 Stephen Sherlock, 2-5 Brian Hurley, going toe to toe all the way home here in Páirc Uí Chaoimh as Sherlock looking to retake the lead for the Bears in the 51st minute of the game, and he's got it.
This is brilliant. It's a brilliant game. Brilliant football, brilliant score there from Stephen Sherlock. Such a sweet strike, having missed one a little bit earlier. And the Bears all of a sudden have turned this game around, from a position where they look to be in trouble. And to be fair to the Bears, they're very athletic, a very fit, athletic team. They go all the way, all 60 minutes. So, they're finishing strong here, but Castlehaven will come back too.
The bounce of the ball, take it away from Roland Wilton as Conor Cahalan off to David McCarthy to Mark Collins. He's a runner outside. He's going to try and take the man on. Collins trying to take on Maguire. Fouled by Maguire. Chance for Collins to level the game again.
That looked harsh to me. I thought Maguire was patient enough in the tackle. He didn't try to commit, and he was waiting for Mark to overplay it. But for the Haven, it was the right man on the ball there carrying it. Brian Hurley and Sam Ryan ended up tangling on the floor inside, so there was no option of a pass inside. So that's a great response from the Haven now to bring this back level.
So Jamie Welch now being replaced by Robbie Minnan. Minahan replacing Jamie Welch in the centre of the field as eyes now concentrate as Brian Hurley outside the exclusion zone. It'll be kicked from. Can it come back to a level game once again? Hurley, well, the time, has he precision and accuracy? No is the answer. Someone close the mark inside. Hang on a second. Referee is going into the umpires. And I'm just wondering, was there an encroachment inside here?
Well, goalkeeper John Kearns was clapping his hands and making a bit of noise, and you can't do that anymore. I think he's going in because Sam Ryan and Brian have been tangling off the ball. That's what he's going in for. Brian was claiming that John Kearns was making trying to put him off there, which you technically can't do anymore.
But is that not just if you're on the mark, not behind the mark?
No, taking a free, an attempt to put off a person taking a free is a free in itself now.
Yellow card for Sam Ryan. That goes down as a white, so we're going to resume with the kick out.
Yeah, that was a huge let off for the Bears there. It was very comfortable when you say for Brian, but they're going long here now to look for Commons.
Commons over towards that far side, punched down on that occasion there by one of the Bears players. Just small but tricky to see the jersey numbers this afternoon. There was Roland Wilton on that occasion. John Kearns plays it back. Looking for the options. He's trying to do the sweeper. Keeper evades the tackle. Looking to engage Michael Shields into play. He has that. Was coming on as a sweeper at the end of the third quarter. Coming on as attacking player now. Trying to evade the tackle under pressure. Offloads to Jamie Burns. Offloading to Maguire. Trying to walk across the 45. Commons on the run inside for the Bears. There's an opportunity to score for Jamie Burns. Out to McConnor McCrickard. Well, it's not really working for him. He's after having 3 opportunities on goal. He's got the goal he wanted. Just can't get the point now to add on to it.
Yeah, another big moment there again. Should be scoring there again and making it a 2-point game.
Yeah, Jamie Burns came ploughing through there and did the right thing, probably as a full-back, just to pop it off to scoring forward, but it's a poor one. But Collins coming, that's the second fetch, I'd say, and he's won the break in the far side as well, so a big impact from Owen Commons.
And now the legs from the bench. Well, as I say that, McGreevy just spills the ball, but it's a chance for Billy Hennessy to try and pick up possession outside to Colm Scully. Bring it up towards the 45-metre line. Scully finds himself in space towards Brian Hayes. Offloading back outside. Alan O'Connor back inside to Hayes. Hayes off the left peg. Oh, just couldn't finish it.
Good, really good football and brilliant from Brian Hayes again, but just missing the chance. And the Bars had their chances and should be further ahead. They may rue these missed chances.
Mark Collins winning the kick out. The Bars leading by point. 3-10-19. Plays Castlehaven's 3-9-18. The Irish Examiner bring you another cracking game in courtesy with the Cork County Board 1-on-1 situation inside when Jack Cahalan just didn't get the breaking ball. He's out towards this near sideline. Under pressure now from Colin Lyons. Turns back on the left hand side on the loop. Brian Hurley looking to try and settle the game. Shimmies back left. Turns back on the right. Hurley across the face and goal. Wide, left and wide.
Yeah, a little bit surprised again. Brian, I'd say he was nearly perfect for the first 45 minutes. Then that moment earlier on when he took the shot on off his left foot and missed the free and missed that chance, you know, when he'd been so good up to that point. Missed chances on both sides, but this is well in the balance.
John Collins, I think, trying to take the sting out of the game here small, maybe. Again, look, this game is finely balanced. The Bars have let the Haven off the hook there a few times. Brian Hayes has a good chance there off his left. The difference in play is fairly stark there. You see the Haven, they're just throwing the ball in, and that last time they were very, very fortunate because Jamie Burns actually slipped. And
So both sides now just throwing out the bottles of water. A bit of instruction. I can see Castlehaven are thinking about substitutions in Andrew Whelton and Shane Nolan. Mightn't be made just yet as we look down at John Kearns, and he's under pressure. Seeing shot here now, Whelton and Nolan, who are being readied by James McCarthy and his management team. Referee happy with John Kearns to resume his position on the field. After being looked over by Bill O'Connell, the medic for St. Finbarrs. The kick out from Kearns, and again Davy McCarthy coming out on top. McCarthy, well, shot going in towards the edges. Wow, brilliant from Jamie Burns. Excellent chance from Maguire now to set up another attack, being met by Mark Collins. Here's the stalwart Shields, who offloads it to Colin Barrett. Switching the play to Brian Hayes. Running forward inside as Barrett looking for the 1-2, made a 40-yard dash off the left peg. Barrett looking to kick on the lead. He's going right and wide. There's mistakes on both sides. There's exemplary scores on both sides, and now the substitution is happening where Michael Hurley's going to be withdrawn for Shane Nolan. Probably not a surprise because Michael Hurley hasn't done a whole lot in this second half.
No, he hasn't, surprisingly. I mean, he was very lively in the first half. Both teams, after being brilliant for the first three quarters, are probably stumbling over the line here. It's a case of whichever team can just hold their nerve and get the crucial few scores, because there's opportunities coming on both sides.
Short kick out, not claimed inside there. McCricker is on the break. Mistake inside there by Ronan Whelton. Oh, what a tackle inside there by the Castlehaven defender. We'll gather in a moment who that was, as Damien Cahalan tried to break through the gate, and he does do that. That was Roland Whelton with a super tackle. Ball over towards the far side of the field, and players running around on the loop a lot now as David Whelton with the possession over on the far side of the field. The Haven looking for a score. They haven't scored since the 45th minute. The stroke of the water break as Mark Collins rides the tackle, left the ball after him, and Alan O'Connor just buried him out of it. And a chance for Maguire to break out of the tackle. You can see now the legs are starting to ponder as we enter the final 90 seconds of this cracking second semi-final here in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. We had a belt earlier on as Clonakilty, who are awaiting the winners in the final, as Shields just plays the ball around, switches it to the space, over to the far side. Owen McGreevy finds a man in space on that far side. Colm Scully, it might have been, but play continues on. In fact, it was Conor McCrickard who was out on his feet. Possession all the while with the Bars. Owen Commons now, walk it back outside to Billy Hennessy. Possession with Sam Ryan, picked up a yellow card only moments ago. Here is Colm Scully. Stephen Sherlock, look how steep Sherlock is, as the Bars are getting another substitute ready in Cian Walsh. Stephen Sherlock on possession once again.
It's very important, I think, the Bears get a score from this possession. They want to make it, at 1.8, there's a lot of mistakes after creeping in, some tension, obviously nervousness because it's tight, the ground's after getting a bit slippy. You can see people making mistakes, but the Bears from this possession, I think a score is vital here.
They've had possession now for a good 90 seconds and they're holding on to it well. Colm Scully looking for runners outside, not too many options as there's 4 minutes of additional time to be added on, so we've got a bit of time to play around with yet. Colm Scully under pressure now from Brian Hurley. He's ended up on the floor, play continues on. Hurley hasn't fouled, he's doing very well, and he's been pinned for overcarrying. It's a correct call.
Yeah, to be fair, it's one of those where you're trying to kill the clock, but Colm Scully just invited pressure. Brian Hurley was very patient. The tackle didn't commit, and that's a terrible
terrible mistake. And now an opportunity for the Bears. They're flooding forward. Alan O'Connor up towards the 45-metre line. Brian Hayes running over towards the far side. This could seal it, but it's gone pinned in and over the Bears. Score from Conor McRickard.
Yeah, again, that's one of those ones. John certainly wouldn't have taken his point, but again, given the game McRickard has had, I was going to criticise him a while ago. He's not wearing gloves out there. He spilled the ball a while ago in contact. He did a sensible thing there now to put up to 2 points. But again, the Bears are very, very fortunate there because the Haven had turned them over, and it was just a misunderstanding on the Haven attack.
Definitely, yeah, there's definitely mistakes after creeping in on both sides. The Bears overplayed it down here and were turned over. Castlehaven had a break on, sloppy hand pass, and a turnover from Alan O'Connor, who read it well, tore down the pitch. They worked the opportunity. I can see why Conor McRickard took the point this stage of the game, having missed a couple of chances previously, make it a 2-point game. But if he'd gone for a pass across the goal and executed, it was a definite goal. But 2-point game still in the balance.
Substitution each way as Shane Nolan comes on for the Haven instead of Conor O'Driscoll, and coming on, Colin Barrett coming on for the Bears, and on comes Cian Walsh. There's a foul on Johnny O'Regan there, this side of the field. We're inside 2.5 minutes left on the clock. Still time to get 2 points to level the game, or the possible major. Just slips into the tackle there, did the Haven player, but play continues on as Conor Cahalan gets possession. Here's Damien Cahalan. Cahalan looking to just trying to offload it outside to Jack Cahalan. The three Cahalans getting involved. Jack's been harried and hassled inside. There's an advantage coming. A free shot if he needs it, trying to ride the 2 tackles. The free coming to Jack Cahalan though. And a chance now for the Haven to reduce the margin down to a solid 3 points. Yeah,
I thought it was risky from Jack going into contact, but to be fair, he broke the first tackle and got the advantage, and I think he knew his advantage was coming, so he just probably overplayed it a bit. Huge kick now for Brian, as John said, probably has left 3 behind him there in the second half, certainly. So this is probably from about 40-45 yards out. This is absolutely vital that it goes over.
Brian Hurley looking to level the game. And not level the game, to reduce the margin to a point. It could have been a level game because the free missed moments ago. We've a bit of time left on the clock, 2.5 minutes. A minute and a half, I should say, sorry, minute and a half.
Yeah, at least a minute and a half left. Possession here is huge.
John Kearns, where is he going to go with this kick out? Goes right, far side of the field, and the Haven have won it. Chance now. Possible final opportunity of plays. The Bears now go full defensive house, 15 on 15. Advantage coming. Play on, says a referee. Mark Collins. Ball inside to Brian Hurley. Hurley turns back on the right hand side. Loomis try and get space. Hurley level the game. No! Outside the face. Brian Hurley's livid. Hurley is livid. He thinks it's a score. The umpire says no.
He's claiming a 45. Yeah. He's claiming that Sam Ryan got a touch on it. And they all are. They're pretty convinced. I wouldn't go short with this kick out, John. No way.
John Kearns looking to go long. Referee is saying, hold on. We're going to stop the watch. This is going to be double checked. Is this time for VAR to step in?
It's a big call from an umpire now here if he's calling that a touch on the block. I see the umpire here was kind of was looked towards, but he didn't offer anything towards it.
Oh, it's very, very tight. It's really, really marginal, and the 45's been called. Is it?
He's asking for advice from the linesman, but I don't think he was, from his body language, I don't think he was going to offer anything.
Looking at it again, if there was a touch, it was slight.
45 is called. 45 is called. It's really, really marginal. Really marginal.
That's interesting to know whether the ref was going to go into the umpire anyway, or whether he only responded to the pressure from the Haven. Because I didn't see the umpires putting their hand up before.
And it was
beforehand.
the near umpire who called it. Here we go again. Just the slightest, if anything, it's the slightest of touches.
Well,
it's a chance.
The surprising thing is he seems to have his mind made up.
Yeah.
You don't see a referee change his mind after that long very often. It'll be very, very controversial if this goes over.
Well, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity now for Brian Hurley and everybody on the edge of our seats here in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. And he's taking his time about this, and he's every right to do so. This is virtually the last kick of regulation time. Hurley, he's got 2-5 to his name already. He scored a ridiculous point from the sideline in 2020. Hurley, does he level the game? He does! He does! And it looks like we're heading for extra time. And there it is. 60 minutes concluded. And we go back as we were. 2020 all over again. And there's starting to confuffle here. There's a bit of a confuffle. And this isn't required now, as both teams need to go to their opposition dugouts and go in and settle themselves back down. What an extraordinary finish. But that call is a massive, massive call.
Yeah, the only thing I'd say is I was watching Sam Ryan, who was the player who was on the block, and he walked off the pitch fairly okay, like he didn't go up and remonstrating at all. Now maybe look, he was just saying it was done, but a few Barrs players did go up, but not Sam Ryan. So look, it's done. It was a huge call. Cracking game. I thought, we thought at various stages it was done both ways, but the two best teams I think left in the competition are starting up an absolute cracker here. Haven thought they were dead and buried 2 points down a while ago, and great score to level it there from Brian under savage pressure.
Well, what an extraordinary finish to regulation time, as we're going to head to extra time, boys. Not the first time this season we've seen this. Yeah. This has been some cracking game. 3-11 apiece.
Yeah, brilliant game, so enjoyable. A little bit of tension crept in towards the end, and there was a lot of missed chances and mistakes on both sides, but that's part and parcel of sport and football as well. It's been a draw, it's been end to end. I think the only one probably complaining about this is Paddy, because I think Paddy was telling me he's a bit hungry after being here for the 2 games as well, but the rest of us are pretty happy to have another 20 minutes of this, and the Haven will be delighted.
Watching, just prop up a bit of food for this man.
I know you wouldn't argue with another bit of this game, because it's been outstanding stuff.
I tell you what I love is if it ends up in the draw after this, that we go to a replay and come back all over again. That would be more better than the penalties.
We do go to penalties, don't we?
We do go to penalties, but it would be better if we went to another 60 minutes.
Again, look, I think both sides, to be fair to the Barrs, we thought they were they were dead and buried, but they were under savage pressure. They were 4 down there, I think, at the third quarter. They stuck to their guns, they keep on going aggressively at you and running the play, and it created the goal chance that McCrickard stuck away there. But the Haven again going 2 points down. The Barrs might be kicking themselves, they definitely left 2 or 3 points behind at the other end. But the Haven, they got the free. Jack Callahan won a free, and Brian stuck it over, and then that last 45 again, Brian, I don't know what he scored now, but he's been outstanding from play. Like he was unbelievable for the first half and first 40 minutes. Couple of missed opportunities, but to finish the way he did there was incredible stuff. So cracker of a game again. How strange it is that these two teams served up the same thing last year. I think their style of play just suits the contest. They both teams go at it. There's little tactical kind of stuff. I think you'll see an unbelievably different final when Clonakilty come into the equation, but this is just to be enjoyed for now.
Yeah, it is. Brian Hurley, I make it 2-7. Sherlock 2-6 is what I make it quick-handed.
Yeah, Brian's been sensational. He's been excellent. He did miss a few chances there towards the end, but he's winning everything that's coming in. He's creating opportunities for himself. Like the Barrs left it 1-on-1 for the most of the game, and Brian's nearly too good a player to allow that kind of space. But they're just backing themselves to go down the other end and get enough scores to beat Castlehaven. So it's great to watch. And Michael Hurley, unless he's injured, maybe he's injured, because I know he does struggle with the hamstrings. I wouldn't have taken him off if he wasn't injured, because he's still so dangerous, and if he's fit, you could see him back out. Will players who were taken off come back into this game? And another thing to note as well, is like the midfield battle. You know, I think the Bears have edged it. I think Ian and probably Brian Hayes actually in particular have been excellent. Mark Collins probably quieter in that second half than he had been previously. And Commons has come in and done very well as well. So if the Bears can get the edge around midfield again, they might sneak this in extra time.
I'm being told that we're going to chip in for a burger for you after the game.
Lovely stuff. I'll survive. But on that, on the Michael Hurley thing, like if Michael Hurley doesn't come back out for the second half, from a Barr's point of view, we'd be saying, you know, Michael Shields is operating there centre forward. You know, will you drop him back and sweep in front of Sam Ryan and shut down Brian and then see what the Haven can produce? Because, you know, on this, you know, on the other side, it's the same with Stephen Sherlock. What can the Barrs produce if he's tied down? So look, it might be interesting. They might sit off a small bit. You know, they might say that the legs are tired and just to focus on nullifying Brian's threat. But you know, a cracker of a game. You know, two teams who, I suppose, the Barrs, this team have been around now since probably around 16, kind of when Ian Maguire, Sam Ryan came on the scene. Around then, they've been getting close, but they still have only the one county. And for a team of their ability who've stayed at that level, you know, they'd probably feel that one county wouldn't be a great return. Whereas the Haven, they've gone since 2013, I think it is, since they won their 2 in a row. So a lot of these lads maybe haven't won a county yet. So look, this is a huge game for the Haven. They'd be saying, look, Clonakilty winning a county final, the Haven county final would be a very special occasion. So you know, the stakes are massive. Like if I was this, I'd still back the Barrs. I still think they have the ace in the pack. I still think they have the athleticism to keep on running at the Haven. But at the same time, you know, great credit to the Haven. They've been outstanding. They've really stood up to the Barrs, and as a physical contest has been outstanding to watch.
Sure has, and wides asunder as well. What the Barrs have 6 wides, they haven't a 4 in that second half alone. Both sides had a plethora of chances. The Barrs had a chance themselves actually. McCrickard was in on goal and took the simple option to go 2 points lead and stuck it over the bar.
Yeah, there were so many moments like that though in the game, wasn't there? Just chance after chance after chance. So look, the Barrs will be disappointed they didn't see it out. Castlehaven probably, you know, breathing a sigh of relief, and you know, they'll probably be, you know, relishing the extra time a little bit more. We touched on at half time. We said maybe that the Barrs' strength from the bench was a little bit better, and they did get more of an impact from their bench players. You mentioned Owen Finn being added to the panel earlier on. He's another good player. He could come into this game and make an impact as well. Michael Shields has come on and steadied it down, and Commons as we mentioned. So Castlehaven might need, you know, some of their subs to step up and have a similar impact.
And of course, because it's a new game now, you've got 10 minutes each way, 3 subs now to use. So like Michael Hurley and Cathal Maguire, if they're okay, they can all come back on again. Yeah,
and like you can start again, pick whatever team you want to put back out there. Fresh game, new game, as you said. If guys are feeling fresh, there's a couple of the Barrs players, even someone like Enda Dennehy, who was good in the first half, he could feature yet. Do you take a chance if you need a score with someone like Killian Myers-Murray to come back in? So look, the Barrs might have slightly more options. Castlehaven kind of more reliant on Mark Collins at midfield to win the ball, and just their tactic is pretty straightforward: kick it into Brian, and it's been working for them for the most part. But you know, Barrs maybe have a little bit more options.
Okay, before we start looking at the highlights, I have some breaking news for our viewers at home, because next Sunday we've got the Cork Premier Senior Hurling Championship final between Glen Rovers and Middleton, throwing in at 3 o'clock, and it's a game. If you are coming down, you'll be able to get your tickets during the week, but if you're not coming to it, it's a game you'll be able to watch live here with us, here live and exclusive on the Irish Examiner. We can proudly present to you next Sunday afternoon, Glen Rovers versus Middleton, a game next Sunday, 3 o'clock throw-in here in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. More on that during the week. Let's come back to this game here though. Start off with the second Haven goal and quickly run through these a couple of clips we have for you here, and brilliant stuff next week. Or today here, I should say. Like, it's extraordinary.
Yeah, again, look, you're seeing here 1-on-1 Brian Hurley inside with Sam Ryan, and things a bit slippy. I think he just checks inside. And again, Brian is so two-footed here. You see as soon as he gets in, the incredible thing is that there's no one coming back here. You see the defender on the far side trying to cut off that side, but Brian tucks away into the bottom right corner. Great finish. And again, that's as John said, the Haven tactic is fairly simple: get the ball into Brian Hurley as quick as possible.
The square ball, John Hayes, looks marginal, tough to call.
Yeah, I think one of his feet was definitely inside the square. I think that was the correct call. I think Paddy said it earlier. He probably should have been more disciplined and held his position a bit better. If you look at it here now, he's just in there a second before it, you know. So that was a disappointing one. And then Castlehaven went down and got the goal. And Brian Hurley did what we were crying out for Conor McGregor to do in the first half. You're an inside forward after beating your man, and you're inside 8 yards from goal. You go for it. Brian didn't think twice about it, did he? Either time he was going through, and you know that's what quality forwards do.
The third goal for Brian Hurley and Haven.
Yeah, again he rolls Sam Ryan very, very well there. A short kick pass, only about 10 yards of kick pass, and again inside, and look how calm he is on his left foot. Just stands John Kearns up, and he went bottom right for the previous one. This one he just tucks into the left corner. Outstanding finish, and like at that stage Brian could do no wrong. I suppose then he probably left behind 2 or 3 points, but he was the Haven's hero and at the end to finish up.
And the third goal for the Bars from Conor McCrickard.
Yeah, this came from a slip. You probably just didn't see it there. The Castlehaven back just slipped, and that created the overlap. Brian Hayes cut inside, blocked, and McCrickard just as a forward just hanging back, and fortunately popped out to him and a rocket into the roof of the net. To be fair to him, after a few misses, that was a great finish.
Okay, here we go. Extra time, players run the field. Looks like no changes from the glance that I took on the field, and it's 3-11 apiece as we start out, and it was Castlehaven's Mark Collins who won the toss and elected to play into the City end in this opening half. So all to play for, and just to reiterate the breaking news for our viewers at home, we're delighted to confirm here on the Irish Examiner live and exclusive coverage of both the Premier Senior and the Senior A finals in Cork next Sunday. That's Ford O'Neill's against Cantork at 1 o'clock, and the big Premier Senior hurling final of Glen Rovers and Middleton with a 3 o'clock start to the Blue Ribbon event of hurling in Cork next Sunday. Let's turn our attentions back here to the football though, as the Bars and the Haven go at it for another 20 minutes, and this time Ian Maguire winning the clash in the air. This time Colin Maguire back on the field here, so there is a change to the Haven as they start the new team sheet. Long ball looking for Brian Hurley inside. Of course, new team sheets, anybody can start. All yellow cards are wiped. Black card stand, but of course we don't have any black cards so far, as that's a bit of a Gary Owen over on that far side of the field, and it's going to be a Haven line ball.
Yeah, so we talked about players coming back in, and we see it there. Cathal Maguire has come back into the game.
I was just going to say, is this something that Brian Hurley was going to look at? Something like the 4th of October, but it's not, and he goes a long way back with the ball. And ball over towards the far side of the field. Chance for Johnny O'Regan. Switches the play over towards Damien Cahalan. It's all about now getting your heads in front. St. Michael's last night got a crucial goal against Donnies in the second half of extra time to win the game after 80 minutes or so. It's all about getting your heads in front. That was a bit of a lazy pass there by McGreevy, but he fought hard to get it back into possession. All the while now, the Bars just settling their feet, not too many runners inside. Castlehaven playing a sweeper defensively as Michael Shields sends this ball to this near side to Billy Hennessy. Legs are going to be at a premium here as we finish out this game. Colin Lyons now. Possession with Owen Commons as the lights of Páirc Uí Chaoimh start to take over the natural sunlight. Shields inside the 45, good hand pass inside to Colin Lyons. Lyons now working it back outside to Ian Maguire. Possession crucial all the while as Billy Hennessy switches it back to Alan O'Connor. Edge of the seat stuff, mistakes at a minimal. O'Connor just switches it outside after evading the 3 tacklers. McGreevy turns back inside. McGreevy didn't play the extra time last year. Looking to try and take it on. Stopped on the line by Anthony Seymour. That was the first opportunity for the Bars.
Yeah, so the Bars, Stephen Sherlock's after coming out to centre forward. He's moved out from in front of the goal. Castlehaven have kind of sat back a lot more than they did in the early stages of the game, and Stephen has come out to centre forward, and I'd say Castlehaven will probably be pleased about that. The further away from goal he is, the better from their point of view.
Castlehaven looking to transition this ball quickly, and they've done that to Brian Hurley. Colin Maguire's on the outside. Hurley took a slip, took a solo, dummied left, turned back on the right. There was Cian Walsh going behind them, pinned for overcarrying.
Yeah, that was good stuff there from Cian Walsh. I think he was hurling earlier in the year, so he's only just back into the panel the last month or so. That was far better again. Brian Hurley left inside first, but the numbers got back to force a turnover. Sam Ryan will be delighted to get that support.
Cian Walsh playing it out towards Brian Hayes. Hayes over towards that far side of the field. Walsh on the loop. McCrickard. No. First wide of extra time going to the Bars.
Yeah, John mentioned about the Bars and whether the rest of them would step up with Sherlock maybe gone quite after the opening, his opening salve of scores, but McCrickard missed there. McCreevy missed one previously, dropped short. So from a Bars point of view, they're leaving this game behind, because I think they've got the Haven pinned down on the far side if they could quieten Brian Hurley.
Maguire didn't get his feet to the ground to claim the mark, and the Castlehaven men get away with it with Maguire. Or sorry, it was Cahalane getting away to McCarthy, I should say. On the loop here is Collins. McCarthy gets pinned up for overcarrying. Correct call again, but just on the Ian Maguire one, I thought he caught it and then was tackled by two Castlehaven. He should have been given the mark. They competed in the air. But that definition of the mark is quite loose. I might touch on that in a second, with you, as possession now outside with McGreevy. Maguire sees the run of Cian Walsh down the line, and Walsh settling the feet, turns back, settles once again, turning. Yes! Over the bar!
Yeah, great score. He's only on there just towards the end of the normal time. I'm fairly sure he hurled this year, so he wasn't involved with the football until the Bars were knocked out of the hurling. So he's a big addition coming on at wing forward there, works very hard and is well capable of scoring. That pushes the Bars point ahead now.
It was an important score to kick as well, because having missed a few, you could feel their confidence sapping if they missed another score, so that was an important one.
Well, 1 point is a small lead, but 2 points could be a big lead in a game like this. As going in there, Sherlock with this on the lead, and Sherlock doubles the lead.
Yeah, I'd say Damien there, I'd say he's looking over furious, because there was two other lads covering Sherlock, and they left him a bit loose, and he struck it beautifully off the right hand side over the bar. A huge minute there for the Bars now to push them too clear.
Stephen Sherlock with a brilliant score once again, and now the referee is saying outside the 20-metre line or inside the 20-metre line, one way or the other.
Yeah, hot ball for the Damien not being outside the D when he collected it. If the Bars win this and manage to get a score out of it, 3 points is a big lead at this stage.
Yeah, he was just inside the D. Hot ball it is. Crucial junction of extra time, halfway through the first half of extra time. The man ended up on the floor there at one stage. McCrickard was underneath, but McCrickard touched it on the floor. Mark Collins now, from his own exclusion zone, sees David McCarthy. There's a man sprinting up the outside of him. Goes back inside to Cathal Maguire. Got a bit of a rest towards the end of regulation time. Maguire trying to get the ball. He's got the ball, but McCarthy's got taken to the floor, and McCarthy got a handful off. Sorry, it wasn't McCarthy. In fact, it was Andrew Welton who got a handful off Ian Maguire. Free going to be taken by Ronan Walsh.
And just on this, the Bars have dropped. Colm Scully has smartly stepped into the D there in front of Brian Hurley. So Sam Ryan is marking Brian Hurley with Colm Scully just in front of him. So I think they're maybe trying to see it out a small bit here, but it's very late in the game to be doing this.
You can see the runners from Castlehaven on the half-back line trying to engage the sweeper as Colm Scully goes back into that position. All the while they have it in possession, and just a score now to open their account is crucial. 2 points to no score in the 6 minutes of extra time so far, as the ball walked out to space to Ronan Walsh. On the loop, Conor Cahalane. Back outside to another man in space. Looks like Jamie Walsh for a minute, but it's not. But play continues on the wide. Mark Collins just popping the ball. Oh dear, hand to the face. It was a bit rough there from the defender, Michael Shields. And Shields just giving a hand off to the face, and it's going to be a free in for the Haven, and there's going to be a substitution. Conor McCrickard being withdrawn, Dara Callan being brought in. Just to mention, John Hayes, about the mark, it's a bit loose. Like, is it when you catch the ball cleanly, or do your 2 feet have to land on the ground?
I don't know. I'd probably need a clarification there. I always thought it was just if you caught clean at the kick out. So in that instance, he was up in the air, he caught it, and the two Castlehaven came in and made a tackle kind of to break the ball, as you would. And I'm not sure, does he have to go to the ground with it before he is awarded a mark? It's actually something I'd need to clarify. Paddy, you're supposed to be a midfielder, you should know.
It's a long time ago. No, I see Jack Callahan there is warming up again. It's hard to keep track of who's on, who's off. So for the Haven, like of their marquee forwards, to say it's only Brian Hurley and Conor Driscoll still on. Michael Hurley and Jack Callahan have both been taken off.
Just inside the post.
So it's look, it's back to a point game. Look, there's no calling this one yet. It's still very open. The Bars just being a bit wasteful if they can get that score just to 3 points and look to shut up shop. I was thinking it was very reminiscent of the game against Rogue in the quarter final, where they were down a man. They sat everyone back in the last play there, but just a little loose on the tackle to concede a scoreable free.
Conor Callahan looked to be limping there from that kick out. He was caught for a short one and he looked to be limping.
Sharp eyes of John Hayes and Patrick Kelly on co-commentary this afternoon as Shields turning, Roland Welton on a sixpence, bursting inside towards Alan O'Connell, who just took a bit of a slip on the Páirc Uí Chaoimh turf. Stood up so well over the past couple of weeks with all the matches it's had on it. Ian Maguire getting the 1-2 back outside, playing it around. Outside to Shields, thought about taking the shot, back outside to Alan O'Connell. Remember, the Bars with a point lead. Possible injury time, I would suspect there's going to be 1 minute at least, as riding the tackle Stephen Sherlock off the outside of the boot, just going right and wide.
On that one, Damien Callahan could be in trouble because he didn't follow Stephen Sherlock out at all there on that play. He stood inside stretching his hamstring, and Sherlock was able to beat a man and have a crack off the outside of the boot, but just struck it wide. But Damien looks like he could be in serious trouble.
Mark Collins now has to do the donkey work from deep. Man with plenty of space and effort. Another heavy hit there by Michael Shields on Mark Collins. They're looking for the runner long inside, but as you say, Damien Callahan in real trouble in behind. Michael Shields now, it was a hefty challenge. It wouldn't surprise if he gets a yellow card here.
Yeah, that's two tackles in a row now where Michael has gone in pretty hard. As Paddy said here, I think we both experienced that as well.
So 1 minute of additional time being added on. Yellow card brandished to Michael Shields.
Mark Collins, to be fair, like for the Castlehaven, he takes some amount of punishment. He drops back deep and collects ball, and he bounced off tackling Conor Lyons and Shieldsy there as well. Like so, and here he's now trying to play Brian Hurley in.
Well, there was descent there by one of the Bars players. Looked like Owen Commons. Now it's a 1-on-1 situation for Brian Hurley. Oh, beautiful dummy. Sam Ryan got sold to Kennedy. Just couldn't finish it.
That's different class there from Brian, the dummy solo. Sam went round to get him, and Brian checked in and was off his right foot. You'd have expected him to finish that, but again, it's hard to credit that the Bars aren't giving any bit of support to Sam Ryan on a more regular basis, because he's up against a player, Brian Hurley, whose movement and skill and speed is impossible to mark 1-on-1.
Haven have one more opportunity before the closure of the half. What a ball from Mark Collins to the far side. Can they try and level the game? They're flooding forward with a shot. Possible score to level the game, and they have done that. That's a brilliant score over there.
Yeah, Shane Nolan there, the man who got the winning goal in the county final against Duhallow in 2012 or 13. Unbelievable pass there from Mark Collins over the top. Great vision, and we're back to level game here, 3-13 apiece.
2 points apiece in the injury time. Cian Walsh and Sherlock getting 2 points in the opening minute. Brian Hurley and Shane Nolan with the last 2 points in the 68th and the 71st minute. That was. So a 1 minute turnaround, half time and extra time. What's the consensus now of both sides?
Impossible to call. I don't know. You'd be fooled to say one way or another. Look, it's one of these ones. You certainly wouldn't rule out penalties. I mean, they're so evenly matched, and they're so experienced. You can see whichever side is losing to manage to eke out an equalising score. Mark Collins come into well there, I thought, in that half there in extra time. But again, it's still all about getting the ball into Brian Hurley, and the Bars still are not changing their ways. They're still leaving Sam Ryan deal with it pretty much on his own.
Yeah, it's interesting now at this stage, because what you have is, the Bars having probably the lion's share of the possession, more of the ball, but Castlehaven have, pulled numbers back, so it's a little bit more deliberate, a little bit slower, a little bit more pedestrian than it was in the earlier stages. Castlehaven then, on the other side, are just leaving Brian up as a one-man forward line. All they want to do is turn over the Bars and drive the ball into Brian Hurley as fast as possible and hope he does the rest. And to be fair, he has done for the most part. That piece of skill to twist and turn Sam Ryan was class. Pity he didn't finish it, but tactically it's very interesting now at this stage. It's not the same game as it was in the first half of normal time, where it was just two 15s going at it, open stuff. Castlehaven have retreated. They're inviting the Bars onto them and then hoping to counter with Brian Hurley as the one-man show.
And in terms of the Bars there, Brian Hayes has been moved in full forward since, in the second half, once Owen Commons came in, he went to centre, and he's since pushed in further. I would be in favour of pulling him out, because you're not getting much change off him. I do see him going in for the throw-in there with Ian Maguire at centre forward, but that might just be for the throw-in with Owen Commons going up centre forward. But Hayes certainly, his legs and his running power from midfield have been missed in the last while.
There's a couple of changes here for the Haven, which are going to be dealt out here. I think there might be a change either way.
Jack Callahan is coming back in.
Yeah.
Dara Cahalan has come on at wing forward as well. I think maybe
the Bars, Bill O'Connell has come on marking Dara at wing back there for the Bars.
Here's substitutions. Colm Scully being withdrawn for Bill O'Connell for the Bars, and the second one for the Haven, which is going to be confirmed to us now, is Jack Cahalan is the man coming on. Off goes Robbie Minahan. So, remember, if this does go to penalties, it depends on the players that remain on the field, but we've got 10 minutes before we've got that, as Brian Hayes was fouled in the middle of the field, as Conor Cahalan has also been withdrawn for Dara Cahalan. So that's 2 for the Haven, 2 substitutes for the Haven, 2 for the Bars. Bars playing into the Blackrock end in this second period of extra time. Ball from McGreevy back outside. Here's Jamie Burns now. First score in this period, crucial. Brian Hayes, long ball, finds Cian Walsh. Just scoops the ball back outside to Bill O'Connell. Hayes worked it inside to Jamie Burns. Ian Maguire looking to try and keep it running in space to McGreevy. Back outside to Owen Commons. Ball over towards that far side of the field. Chance for Colin Lyons. Works the ball short inside, through the hands though. And a chance for the Haven to clear their lines.
Yeah, and the Haven had left, brought everyone back. Brian Hurley was the only one inside in their the opposition half. He's up inside in the 21-yard line in extra space. Ian Maguire has just dropped off now, trying to give Sam Ryan some protection.
Well, he's not going to get much protection if Collins left it go, but Cahalan trying to ride the tackle. He's been held up by Cian Walsh illegally. And Maguire now pushing all the way back to on top of Brian Hurley, trying to close out that space. He knows the danger very, very well. David McCarthy plays it back to Collins. Here comes Brian Hurley now on this darting run to the corner. Hurley turns back on the left hand side. Out comes Maguire for help. Sam Ryan supposed to stay on the right, didn't help himself. Hurley played the ball across the 20-metre line. Dummy to cross over there by Shane Nolan. Shane Nolan takes the lead for the Haven for the first time in extra time.
Yeah, worryingly for the Bars there. Maguire looks to be struggling. He was the sweeper there for Sam Ryan. He wasn't able to get much contact at all. He's hobbling and he's staying in the D there for the kick out now. So like tired bodies, a very physical game, and it's really how strong your squad is here.
John Kearns putting the boot straight through that ball as the Bars man ended up on the floor, and Owen McGreevy, and a chance now for Mark Collins to try and tack on another score. Not too many runs, but Brian Hurley comes out deep on this occasion. Big run from David McCarthy as the ball walked inside. Goal opportunity, Cathal Maguire, while he just takes the score and settles on a 2-point lead.
Yeah, look, probably the right decision. Goal was on, I suppose, but at this stage of the game, scores are at a premium, so if he missed it, would have been a big moment. Brian has won the last couple of balls and actually set up the last 2 scores. He's getting a little bit of support, and the tactic is paying off for Castlehaven. Pull numbers back and just leave Brian up. Well,
on this occasion, Brian Hayes got it down to Owen Commons. Here's McGreevy deep inside his own 65-metre. Risky ball. Castlehaven man got to boot the ball. Long ball in, and it's landed to Brian Hurley. That was Andrew Welton who got to boot the ball. Brian Hurley looking to try and make a 3-point game. He's done that!
Yeah, that's some stroke of luck there, I suppose. The Haven, I don't know who came in and just boot the ball, as I said, and you could see there Brian, the ball was spinning over himself, and Sam Ryan, he just turned and gambled, and as he cut in there, you see he took the extra solo to get him close to the goal central, and a great score off his left foot. Haven gone 3 up now.
Andrew Welton was with the lucky break cross field.
Yeah, well, look, he just read the pass. The pass across the pitch wasn't great, and he just drew on it. a bit of luck to end up where it went, but Brian won it and took Sam on again, just physically that bit too strong when he goes at him, and he clipped it over the bar.
Long ball looking for Michael Shields. Shields beaten to it for pace though, and a chance for the Haven to try and break away. Jack Cahalan. Now good ball from Jack Cahalan though, and Old Commons breaks away, and coming to the conclusion of the 4th minute of extra time. Ball scooped outside, now towards Sherlock. Ball over the top. The Bar's not completely out of it, but balls like that won't help the cause. Tackles flying in everywhere. The Bar's have got it back. Bill O'Connell with possession. Sherlock spraying it to McGreevy. McGreevy turns back on the right. Dummies outside. Bill O'Connell. Maguire. Back to O'Connell. O'Connell. Oh, what a block inside there. Inside there, Roland Whelton.
Yeah, Castlehaven just look like they have the belief now. You know, tactically they've tweaked it, and it's paid dividends. So giving away yet. Again though.
Not yet. Loose pass from Mark Collins gives an opportunity for Sherlock. Steadies the feet. Sherlock and gets the score. And all of a sudden, when Castlehaven were in control, now the margin reduced to 2 points.
Yeah, like of all fellas there, Mark loses the ball, like the most comfortable fellas on the ball, just probably tired in his tired minds, tired bodies. Stephen Sherlock there decided to take the point. Again, going back to what John said, like who else will stand up for the Bars besides Sherlock? Because I don't think enough of them have up there. They're not getting scores from other places. Ian Maguire is under savage pressure here for the Bars. He's in left corner forward here, marking Johnny Regan number 2, but he looks to be carrying one leg.
Great mark claimed over there by Andrew Whelton. Substitution for the Bars. Colin Lyons has been withdrawn for Luke Hannigan. Long ball forward looking for Cahalan. The height of Jamie Burns again though. He's got the better of the youngest of the Cahalan brothers. And a chance now for the Bars to try and push forward again. Billy Hennessy. McGreevy. 65 yards out from goal. Just needs to be simple from a Bars point of view. McGreevy, not that simple. But Hayes has got it. He's gone down, limping, cramping badly. Possession with Bill O'Connell. Sprays it to Alan O'Connor. O'Connor dummy the pass. On the loop comes Sherlock, looking for his second in a minute. Brilliant. Oh yes! Oh yes!
That was quality, and that's the Bars' game plan to a T. You run the ball, get Stephen Sherlock on the loop, and he pops it over. And they're totally reliant on Stephen. Brian Hayes seemed to take a knock there. He's up again. It looked like he was in a bit of pain. You know, if he struggles in the last minute, it'll be a blow for St. Finbarrs. But 2 good scores to bring them back into the game.
Yeah, and Damien Callahan's not moving well at all either. He's not marking Sherlock anymore. He's gone in marking Michael Shields. Michael Hurley is down below us here, getting ready to come on again.
3:16:25 plays 3:15:24. The Haven by 1. Long ball 1-on-1. Sam Ryan, Brian Hurley. This could seal it. Is he brought down? It's a free out. Brian Hurley pulled Sam Ryan to the floor. Free taken. We're inside nearly 3 minutes of the regulation. 10 minutes for the second period of extra time. Second season in a row. The second semi-final between the Bars and the Haven. That ball just scooped over the top. It's going to work out okay because Dara Callan looking to try and level up the game. Callan scoops the ball outside to Maguire, bobbles the ball. Mark Collins in there fighting. So is Damien Cahalan. And here is Mark Collins. Settles his feet, jumps away and breaks the tackle to Johnny O'Regan. Ball being worked out. Here is Ronan Walsh. David McCarthy, crunch ball. Plays it back outside. And the Haven trying to protect the 1 point lead. There's players falling everywhere as Sherlock working hard to trying to defend that tackle. Great tackle inside there. Stephen Sherlock, brilliant tackle.
That's superb from Stephen. That's superb. And look, he's a player who's not well known for his work rate and defending, but that was superb at this stage of the game.
Chance now for Michael Shields. Pops the ball over the top, looking for Dara Callan. Can he be the Bars' saviour? They're looking to level the game in extra time. Cian Walsh turns back outside. 2 minutes of regulation. Possible minute of injury time, possibly to be added on. How much more drama? Where are the defibrillators? How much more can we take of this? McGreevy. Long ball over the top. Looks at a runner. Hannigan. Oh, he fumbles the pass and it's gone left and wide.
That was a tough one to be fair, probably going off his weak hand. Tried to go off the left hand but the Haven put good pressure. Stephen Sherlock is really standing up here for the Bars big time. I've said it already, Ian Maguire is a passenger out there. He's obviously injured. He can hardly stir. He's in corner forward. But the Bars, I'd say, are very, very slow to take him off. But look, what do we have now? 2 minutes maybe. The next kick out is absolutely critical. The Bars need to work a score, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's Stephen Sherlock on the loop.
The one thing here you've got to have in the back of your mind, the penalty kickers. Jack Cahalane will be on the Castlehaven list.
Yeah, well, look, maybe that's one of the reason they're bringing Michael in. Maybe Jack is just a bit tired.
Back, yeah.
Yeah, Mark Collins pushing it back there on Brian Hayes. So the Bars have to work a score here. Haven trying to get everyone behind the ball.
Brian Hurley still inside the Bars 45 metre line. Brian Hayes just trying to stretch himself out a small bit. Ball to the far side to Owen Commons. Cian Walsh. Where is this ball going to end up going? That's a loose pass from Walsh, but Commons is going to work it. Did well. Cian Walsh with some composure now, just to try and settle it back down. Alan O'Connor. Are we heading penalties for the second year in a row? Cian Walsh now, cross the 65. Additional time going to be brandished in a moment. Sam Ryan bursting forward. McGreevy. Chance going in. Billy Hennessy, a minute to be added on. So there's still a bit of time. We're just after starting that minute. Brian Hayes finds McGreevy, nearly did. It was the edge of the square, has been bottled up. Chance of Burns. Oh, he just left it through. It was so like last year. It was so like last year when the Bars took it into contact and they got the chance, or it was the Haven last year, in fact. Ball still there. No, it's a free out over the far side.
That could see them home. 30 seconds.
Referee stopping the clock.
I was thinking they're not play that after giving the 45 to the Haven on full time, that he'd be under savage pressure to give the Bars something if there was any bit of contact there at all. But to be fair to the Haven, good defending. Jamie Burns probably could have shot himself. It looked like it opened up, but again, probably you'd say sensibly he was trying to give it to a forward or a scoring player. So, but just went astray. Mark Collins on the ball here now, and you'd expect the Bars to push up absolutely massively and cover even Anthony Seymour, who's free at the moment. But
would you not think, like John Kearns off picture inside his own 45, push up to his own half of the field, apply the pressure on?
Yeah, Mark.
Dangerous ball. David McCarthy split it, so the chance. Jamie Burns. The Bars with an opportunity. Hannigan. Can he be their saviour? Pops the ball outside. What's the time remaining? McGreevy. Sherlock, he got tripped. He got tripped. And knows the opportunity, and now that's a black card, you would have to say, because that was the absolute Peter Stringer ankle tap. And going to be ruling himself out here is David Whelton for the rest of this game, no matter what happens. Whelton, well, he's gone, and now we're heading for the penalty shootout if this is converted.
Yeah, look.
Sherlock with 2-9, Hurley with 2-9. It's Castlehaven 3-16-25, plays the Bars 3-15-24. It all rests on this kick in the 3rd minute of injury time, in extra time. Are we heading for the 2nd season in a row to penalties? It all rests with the leading scorer of the championship so far. 334 to his name. Can he add on a further score? Sherlock converts the score!
Stole a nice few steps there, didn't he? The old free taker trick, definitely. But look, I mean, this has been riveting, really, isn't it? The drama.
And we're going to penalties. We're going to penalties for the 2nd season in a row. Absolutely extraordinary.
Yeah.
Who would have imagined it at 3 o'clock this afternoon that Sherlock, not for the first time ever, would have converted a levelling score, and we're going to penalty kicks.
I'm still waiting on my food here as well. I'm starved, but brilliant finish. Mark Collins had a free in the corner there, and it was just a case of keep possession. to be fair, I think the kick pass was decent. I don't know who was, just slipped out of his hands and the Bars worked it, and it was always a case of trying to find Sherlock Hannigan there. 18 had half an opening, but they just waited, and Welton, I would probably say a bit reckless. Like, you take him shooting under pressure from play as opposed to a free, but Sherlock what nerve there to nail that one, and penalties again. Incredible game.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant game. Incredible drama. Just as good as we were, and better than we were hoping for. Paddy, I know what you think. I'd rather free taking competition than penalties. I think penalties are a little bit. I'd rather free taking as a decider, personally speaking. But we have the drama here now, and it's been sensational stuff.
Yeah, you'd be grand free though, and I'd be under pressure. But
so just to clarify the rules here now, you only pick 5 players from the 15 that finished the game. Those 5 take your first rounds of 5. If it's a draw, you stick to the same 5, but anybody can take them in any order in sudden death. So that's the rules of the penalty shootout. Everybody else remains off the field, outside the white line.
Yeah, you'd say. I mean, it was the same last year. Mark got the winning goal, and he took a second penalty in sudden death for the Haven. You're looking out there, and you're wondering who's going to take them. Look, the penalties are a little bit of a lotto. I'm looking at obviously.
So we start looking at as I mentioned, Jack Cahalan was one of your men going to be possibly taking.
Yeah, you'll be looking at Brian Hurley. You'll be looking at Cathal Maguire, Mark Collins, Damien Cahalan. There's 4. Is Michael Hurley back on?
Yes, Michael Hurley came back on.
So I'd be surprised if the Haven's not the Damien Cahalan, Mark Collins, Brian Hurley, Cathal Maguire, and Michael Hurley. The Have are for the Bars. You're looking at Sherlock McGreevy's a soccer player. I'd say he'll take one.
Brian Hayes
maybe. You might be going back along. I'm trying to think who else there. Like a lot of the younger fellas came on there. Hannigan, Bill O'Connell, Billy Hennessy, Darragh Callan. I have no idea. Shieldsy, sorry, Mike
Shields. Yes.
Yeah, look, you see it with soccer the whole time. Any player can miss. It doesn't matter if it's the striker or the back. It's a bit of a lottery. So it's just nerve-wracking stuff.
So penalties it is. Both sides now just deciding their team sheets. Not for the first time, the Haven and the Bars, and not for the first time John Ryan in the middle. So he's just explaining to his officials, John Ryan and David Moran, who have been quite experienced in this situation before. They're being told the situation out in the middle of the field. The Bars, well, I thought the both sets of players had to be off the field for this situation. Obviously, the officials are happy enough to leave this continue on. They're actually behind the halfway line is where they're going to end up. So there's going to be, the referee I think has selected that we go to the city end, by the looks of it to me. And looks like Mark Collins and Ian Maguire will have to toss for who goes first and who goes second.
Yeah, and look, I suppose a factor here is we were here, was it last October, and Castlehaven have it in the memory bank, having done it and won it, Maybe that will give them the extra little bit of confidence.
If memory serves me right, there was a ball off the crossbar from a Bar's point of view. There was a slip as well that ended up in the back of the net. These are all...
Well, another factor is what Paddy touched on there a while ago. Damien looked to be struggling there for a lot of that extra time. Is he physically confident enough to take a penalty? Does he, is someone cramping or tightening up or anything else like that? Maybe they won't want it.
Yeah, if they're going with the line there, the Haven, in terms of Mark's obviously overweighting for the toss, but I see Damien, I see Damien Callahan, Brian Hurley, Michael Hurley, Cathal Maguire, and I think Rory Maguire as well close there, so it's probably 5 out of that 6 there somewhere.
They should be separated from the group though shortly. The one thing I would mention here, the keepers, you can't blame them for anything here, but they're going to have a big say in this, and they're 2 good quality keepers, John Kearns and Anthony Seymour.
Yeah, look, that's it. It's, penalties. The goalkeeper, there's much less pressure on the goalkeeper than there is the penalty taker. There's an opportunity there to be the hero. You can see the 2 of them shaking hands now. Obviously, John Kearns, carrying on a proud family tradition.
Let's look who's stepping forward here, lads. Mark Collins, I presume, because he's gone for the toss. Michael Hurley, Damien Cahalan,
Rory Maguire.
So
Mark Collins.
Who's the 5th one there?
Mark Collins will be.
Yes, Mark Collins. So the 2 Hurley brothers, Rory Maguire, Damien Cahalane and Mark Collins. Well, unfortunately, from the Bars haven't stepped forward yet, so we're waiting for the 5 of them to step forward. Referee just laying out the law now to John Ryan. The toss is happening. And Mark Collins has the selection to whether to go first or second. We'll clarify that in a moment.
Regardless of what happens, we have to, come in both teams. And what was a brilliant spectacle,
Can I ask this? Is this the fair way to do this? Should we be going to a golden score or?
Yeah, look, I suppose you have to call an in point at some stage, and you have to find a method. So whether it's penalties, like I said, I'd state a preference maybe for frees from the edge of the D or something like that. But look, fair is fair. It's sport. Both teams have the same opportunity. Both teams have the same chance. So it is in itself. It's
Peter
fair.
O'Leary
It's fair
just
that way.
hunting out the 5 players.
So
the 5 are McGreevy, Sherlock, Michael Shields, Brian Hayes, and
We need one more.
another. Who's the 5th penalty taker?
Kearns could be the
Kearns,
fifth.
yeah.
Unless it's John Kearns, but I wouldn't think unless John Kearns playing soccer.
Who's having 4?
No.
No. It must be John Kearns.
Yeah, could be John.
Big decision. So, for the second season in a row, we go to penalties here live on the Irish Examiner. Last year was Páirc Uí Rinn. This time, Páirc Uí Chaoimh. What a way to finish a superb day's Premier Senior football action here on the Irish Examiner. An extraordinary finish earlier this afternoon between Clonakilty and Douglas, with the West Cork side coming out on top 15 points to 111. And it was Mark Collins who won the toss. Mark Collins elected to go first and sends Brian Hurley into action. John Ryan giving his final instructions to both John Ryan, or to Anthony Seymour I should say, and John Kearns. And it is Brian Hurley who will be taking the first penalty kick. So, remember, the keeper must stay in the line before the ball is kicked, until the ball is kicked. Brian Hurley it is with the opening penalty of the penalty shootout to see who faces Clonakilty in the final. Brian Hurley against John Kearns. Whistle from John Ryan. Hurley, bottom left corner, and gets Haven up and running.
Yeah, you expected Brian to score. Never really doubted that he wouldn't.
McGreevy here for the Bars, 15 first up. I'm sure he played Coverlander soccer, so not that that's a guarantee that he'll stick it, but
it's an advantage, says you.
Possibly.
It's also the benefit of going first in a shootout and scoring, because it puts the pressure on the opposition straight away.
McGreevy versus Seymour, looking to level round one. Oh, nicely tucked into the corner by Owen McGreevy.
Mark Collins next up for the Bars, or for the Haven, sorry. I'm pretty sure Mark scored both his penalties in the penalty show last year.
Yeah.
Mark Collins did indeed score the winning penalty.
Oh, McGreevy had a quick word with him there, but I don't think Mark Collins will be rattled by that.
So, both teams successful after round one. Collins against Kearns. Collins stepping up to the penalty. Down the middle, beautifully struck. And that's a second round goal for Mark Collins.
Brian Hayes next up for the Bars.
3 good penalties so far, 3 confident penalties. That, Castlehaven putting their big guns out for the first 2 penalties.
Umpire just having an issue to try and get the flag out, the flagpole out. The flag is gone and the pole is gone, so he'll fix that on the side momentarily. As Hayes goes to Seymour. Oh. Hayes classily into the corner.
For a big man, that was beautiful. Just
so cool.
Stroked it home, the bottom right, beautiful penalty.
So, 4 penalties successful. Now, eyes turn to the attention of Damien Cahalane as Brian Hayes rolled that into the bottom right corner. John Kearns having a brief wording with the Cork hurling fullback. Cahalane versus Kearns. Who's going to slip up first in this penalty shootout? Oh, gee! Nearly took a hole out of the net.
Yeah, it's high quality penalties so far. There hasn't been a bad penalty yet.
Shields,
Keepers with no chance.
For the Bars, pressure's mounting with every penalty that's scored.
So Damien Cahalan bury it to the top of the net. So a chance for Michael Shields against Seymour. Shields.
Yeah, look, we know we fancy Mike. He's a cool customer, very technically, accomplished player as well, and wouldn't be fazed by the pressure of it. So, six quality penalties so far.
Don't forget the rules of the penalty shootout. If we end up in a sudden death situation, any one of the 5 who took a penalty can take a penalty at any stage. So a chance now for Rory Maguire.
I can see the Haven or the Bars lads pointing to the right here as if they know something about his penalty.
Maguire stepping into this one. And ejected right! What a save, John Kearns!
Yeah, it was strange. I was watching the Bars, the mentors out in the middle of the field, and whether they've seen Rory Maguire take it forward, every one of them was pointing right and jumping right, trying to get Kearns' attention. But it's a massive.
It was still a good save.
Oh yeah, massive.
It wasn't a particularly poor penalty. Right? I think it was a full link dive and a very good save.
Well, whoever's doing the homework on the penalty shootouts from last year has been very, very good so far. A chance for Stephen Sherlock to take the lead in round 4. Sherlock and Seymour. Sherlock slipped, he got away with it.
And I was thinking before, and I'm sure he missed in last year's penalty shootout. So that, obviously he's carried the Bars to what, as he scored 2-8 or 2-9 or something like that. But
2-10.
2-10, sorry. Struck nicely now, and Michael Hurley has to score this.
Penalty shootout going to on the shoulders of Michael Hurley to keep Castlehaven in the championship. Michael Hurley against John Kearns. Hurley just getting it inside the far post.
Yeah,
it is John Kearns to take it now.
Wow. I mean, that is huge pressure.
So all revolves around John Kearns against Seymour. The 2 keepers who have conceded 6 goals each in the 80-odd minutes so far. Kearns to send Bars to the final. He's done it! And John Kearns converted it! The Bars are 100% successful and they get their revenge over Castlehaven. And it's a Bars Clonakilty final in 2 weeks' time.
That was just brilliant as a couple of hours entertainment. I kept everyone here, I'd say, transfixed and riveted for the whole thing. Quality of penalty superb, and it's right that we say commend John Kearns there as well. We all know his father was an unbelievable player for Cork and a great servant for Cork, but John is making a name for himself now with saying Finbarrs, and to save the penalty he did and then to convert that penalty as well under that pressure, that's superb. It's outstanding.
Yeah, look, you'd feel for Rory Maguire there, big time, the only player to miss. When you think back to the England lost Italy, when there's 3 players missing it, at least the burden is shared. It's tough on any player. No one ever blames anyone for missing a penalty in a penalty shootout, but just fierce tough for him. Bars 5 from 5. You see the respect that the players have there. After the Bars initial celebration, they all went over commiserating with the Haven. They've given us 2 unbelievable games this year and last year. So great credit due to both teams. You couldn't pick a team who was the better side there. They were so evenly matched, and Bars will go in as overwhelming favourites now for the Clonakilty for the final against Clon. But we're in for a good game as well in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, sure indeed. Let's wrap up this game, lads, because this has been one hell of a day on the Irish Examiner, and behind us, behind the camera, you can see all the celebrations with the Bars. But the Bars have come out on top after extra time. What was it? 3-16 apiece it was. I had to look back at the book. 5 goals to 4 in a penalty shootout, lads. An extraordinary game.
Yeah, look, it's heartbreaking for Castlehaven to lose the county final to Nemo in was July or August, and then to get this far and to lose on penalties in the semi-final. With the carrot of Clonakilty, their West Cork rivals waiting in the final. They'll see this as a huge opportunity lost, but great credit to them. They, you'd say for a lot of it, we thought they were going to win. That Brian Hurley was doing wreck inside, but the Bars are very very experienced team, very dogged team. They kept on going. You know, that last play to work a shot. It was Sherlock was going to shoot, and he was hauled down, and he nailed the free. You know, just huge credit to both teams. It was a throwback to games of the past when you know, things were far more open, and you know, thoroughly enjoyable game, and you know, it was worth the extra wait here.
I'd say it was. You know, we're still waiting on that burger as well. John Hayes.
Yeah, look, it's hard to sum that up. Looking at Mark Collins coming off the pitch there, he's absolutely devastated, you know, and the service he's given to Castlehaven, yeah, he has two county medals, which is fantastic. But like, you know, it's been a while since they won their last one, so you know, devastated. But like the performance of both teams and the performances that we saw from Stephen Sherlock, from Brian Hurley, from Brian Hayes, Ian Maguire, from Mark himself, Mark Collins, you know, the quality of the game was just very, very high level. Look, we called it that they're probably the two best teams in the county at the moment with Nemo gone. Clonakilty, though, you know, they won well today. They deserved their win. They'll be waiting in the wings now because no one will be talking about Clonakilty. You know, Bars will be expected to win. So getting their heads right after such a kind of monumental game against Castlehaven today, they need 2 weeks now, real focus.
Can we go back?
Will be no pushover.
Can we go back to the point though in the 64th to 65th minute? That ball, they got touched late, faintly by Sam Ryan. Will the Bars now feel it was justice? You know, whether it is or not, the referee waved it wide. He was consistently wide, but the umpire on the near side called him in just to have a chat about it again.
Yeah, but there were so many things happening in the game. You know, I'm struggling to remember the goals in different instances. You know, you go back to Damien got away with one there on Sherlock off the ball. You know, you could talk about any number of incidents, and you know, to be fair to the ref, he had a good game. In my memory is, I don't think there was too many calls that were reckless. I mean, you missing off the ball punch, there's not much you can do about that. The score there, the 45, he went with his umpire's call. I think by and large, to be fair, for such a two aggressive team, two physical teams, I thought he let it flow very, very well. Just a very entertaining game. You know, look, you'd be gutted for the Haven, and the Bars. Look, it's a toss for coin and penalties, and you know, they'll go in as favourites to that one. What is it? 2018 was their last county. I said before that this group would probably see one as a failure, given how consistent they've been. So they have a massive chance now to make it two counties. So
put the chopping block on the line. Okay, the Bars will go in as favourites. I know there's cramp and all that. You've a bit of time to recover, but the way Clonakilty are going forward, have they got a chance in the final?
Definitely, they definitely do. And I mean, if you were looking at that game, your template for playing against the Bars would be something similar to what Castlehaven did for a while in extra time. You pull your numbers back, double mark or even triple mark Stephen Sherlock, because the other forwards do not have his confidence in front of goal. Maybe Conor McCrickard will come back in the next day and have a better game. Same with Killian Myers-Murray. You know, I thought maybe he could have come back into this game as well, but the other forwards for St. Finbarrs today didn't produce. And if you're totally reliant on one player and that player gets even half stopped, it puts them under pressure. So Clon will be looking at that and saying, yeah, this is what we do. They pull numbers back anyway. We double mark at least Stephen Sherlock, and they've got a chance then just to hit them on the break.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, it's going to be a completely different game. You know, Clonakilty beat us in the second game in the group this year, and I wouldn't have predicted they'd have got this far. To be fair to them, they've looked like they've improved massively. I thought they were outstanding today against Douglas. They looked very well set up, and their style, like they probably don't have the legs to go toe to toe with the Bars, but sitting off against them and trying to swarm them and turn them over. And as John said, doubling up on Stephen Sherlock, which they will do. They do have the backs, the individual backs to mark them 1-on-1, but they certainly will get the additional help which the Haven didn't really give to the marking on Sherlock today. So look, everyone will expect the Bars to win it, but then again, all the pressure will be on them. So it's one of those things where the Clon can get a good start, get ahead, and that system could frustrate the Bars and could make them panic. So look, I think we're in for an intriguing game. I think we've had a good county championship. You know, the group stages has been a massive success. We've had good knockout games as well, and look, this is the highlight so far, obviously.
Sure is indeed, and what a weekend, what a day it has been here at Park Equive. Patrick Kelly, thanks very much for the big long stint, and to John Hayes for joining us, and to Colm and to Brian earlier on. Well, what a day it has been. Clonakilty coming out on top against Douglas by a solitary point. And again, episode 2 of this rivalry goes all the way to penalties. What about a trilogy next year? Wouldn't that be something to savour? Before all that though, a county final in 2 weeks' time. St. Finbarrs versus Clonakilty. Something to savour indeed. My thanks to Larry, to John, to Larry and Tony on the examiner desk, to Raf and Kieran back in base producing, and my thanks to all the lads for helping us today. It's been what a day it has been, and we look forward to 2 weeks' time. But next week, don't forget, we're delighted this evening to announce that we have got live and exclusive coverage of next Sunday's Co-op Superstores Premier Senior Hurling Championship final between Glen Rovers and Middleton, a game throwing in at 3 o'clock. And we'll also show you for a little bonus the Senior A Hurling Championship final between Kanturk and Fado O'Neill's at 1 o'clock. Do stay tuned to irishexaminer.com/sport for all the reaction after the game tonight, and check your papers tomorrow for a full-blooded club championship report from the past weekend. But what a day it has been! The Saints come out on the top, getting the revenge on the Haven. They qualify for the final to face the Clan. Good evening from Páirc Uí Chaoimh.